A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
In just a moment, Autolite presents Suspense, starring Margaret O'Brien.
Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh.
Why, Hap, that's not the way to sing Hurrah for Thanksgiving Day.
What are you telling me, Harlow Wilcox? Why I
No,
sung that song?
Hap, this is the way it goes today. Over the river and through the woods, and never mind the snow. Grandpa's happy with his jalopy, his battery's never low. Over the river and through the woods, blow high ye winds, blow low. The car's as snappy as Grandma and Pappy, with an Autolite Stay Full, you know.
But, Harlow,
Why,
that's
you
not...
see, Hap, Autolite Stay Full batteries have changed a lot of things today.
Harlow, isn't anything sacred anymore? It's Thanksgiving Day. Let's listen to Margaret O'Brien on Suspense.
Suspense. Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, Miss Margaret O'Brien in Anton Leader's production of The Screaming Woman. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I'm Margaret Leary, and I've got to tell you how it happened. It was Thanksgiving Day, and it was nice and sunshiny. Almost like summer, except cooler. Mama was cooking the turkey, and I was watching. And Mama said to me,
"Good heavens, I forgot. Your Aunt Cynthia's made some cranberry relish for us. Run over and get it, Margaret, so her feelings aren't hurt. And hurry. This turkey's done to a turn."
So I ran to Aunt Cynthia's, and on the way back I took a shortcut through Mr. Kelly's lot. It's a big lot, more like the side of a hill that slides down to Monument Creek. It's a swell place to play Indians and cowboys, or explorers or hunting for treasures, because trucks dump all kinds of stuff there. Loads of dirt and junk, and even big things like old cars and big pipes and chunks of concrete. Well, this day, coming back from Aunt Cynthia's, I saw that a lot of new junk and dirt had been dumped there since Saturday. They'd even covered up our swell big concrete pipe that us kids called our fort. Covered it clear up. I was looking around to see where it used to be when, all of a sudden, I stopped and listened. The sound was coming up out of the ground. A woman was buried under the junk and dirt and glass, and she was screaming all wild and horrible for somebody to dig her out. I started to run. I fell down and got up and ran some more. It was an awful, awful long way to our house that day. Mama! Mama!
Margaret?
Mama!
Oh, Margaret, haven't I told you not to slam the door? Is that the relish?
Listen, Mama. There's a screaming woman in the lot.
Wash your hands, Margaret.
She was screaming and screaming and screaming. Mama, listen to me. We've got to dig her out. She's buried under tons and tons of dirt.
I'm sure she can wait till after dinner. Oh, next year I swear I'm going to buy a bigger platter.
Mama, don't you believe me? You've got to believe me.
Margaret, I've got a million things to do. Good gosh, look at you. How'd you get your knees so dirty?
Well, when he back from the lot,
Never mind. Scoot and tell your dad we're about to eat. He's in the front room reading his paper.
Yes, Mama. Daddy! Oh, Daddy, I've got to tell you something.
Getting hungry, baby?
Daddy, there's a screaming woman in the lot.
I never knew a woman who didn't. Smell that turkey.
We've got to get picks and shovels and dig her up, like for an Egyptian mummy. Oh, Daddy!
I don't feel much like an archaeologist today, Margaret. I can't think of anything but food. Let's have an expedition next Sunday and dig her up.
But we can't wait that long. Oh, Daddy, she'll die if we don't do it now. I'll give you some money.
Oh, so it's a business proposition. Well, how much do you pay by the hour?
I've got $5 whole. It took me a year to save.
Come here, Foot. You know I'm touched.
Oh, but Daddy...
You want me to play with you, and you're willing to pay me for my time. Why, dear, you're shaking. calm down.
Oh, Daddy, please.
After our Thanksgiving dinner, I'll come out and listen to your screaming.
Oh, but...
How's that?
Oh, no, now, Daddy. Maybe she'll die if you don't come out now. Oh, you've got to come now.
Margaret.
If you believe me, you wouldn't wait. You never believe me. Mama doesn't believe me. Nobody believes me.
Quiet down right this minute.
Oh,
Or I not only won't go with you, but you go to your room and stay in without your Thanksgiving dinner. Now, is that clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear. I always liked Thanksgiving. Almost next best to Christmas. But that was an awful one. Dinner was a million years long. Everybody moved so slow, like a slow-motion movie. Forks and knives and spoons moved slow, and Dad's cheek muscles moved slow when he chewed. I'll try to make things faster.
Margaret, you heard your mother now. Don't eat so fast.
But, Daddy, the screaming woman, we've got to hurry.
My dear young lady, this is Thanksgiving dinner, an occasion when we do not hurry. No, I intend to eat 4 or 5 helpings of everything until I can't eat any more. And then I'm going to make an extra effort and find room for pumpkin pie, a few walnuts, and stuffed dates.
Oh, please, please, Daddy.
Now, if you pester me any more, if you mention her again, this screaming what's-this, I won't go out with you to hear a recital at all. Am I understood?
Yes, sir. It's understood. I wanted to yell, oh, please, rush, get up, run around, come on, hurry. But I had to sit still, while out there in the lot with the sun shining down, all alone with nobody to hear or to help her, was the screaming woman. I could hear in my mind, screaming. Mom and Daddy couldn't hear. They just kept on eating and talking.
Well, now that I can be thankful for a full stomach, I guess we should consider what other things we have to be thankful for,
Well, we're all healthy. Prices are sky high, but we're not in debt. Yet.
Those are mundane things, my dear. I'm thankful for my big daughter. Right, Puss?
Yes, Dad.
And for my loving wife, who is still the most romantic woman I know.
Oh, silly.
I'm thankful I didn't marry somebody else.
You nearly married Dora Lampell. Even gave her a ring.
No, I never meant anything. No one... No. You're the only one who's been the serious competitor since we were all kids.
Oh?
There's only one. One other. Helen Nesbitt.
Oh.
Yeah, Helen was my first love. When she was about as old as Margaret, I gave her a present one Christmas, and she gave me one, and I still have it.
Oh, that paperweight on your desk.
Mm-hmm. Funny how we hang on to things that were important when we were kids.
Daddy.
Just a little longer, boss. Warm up my coffee, will you, dear?
You know what I'm thankful for, dear? Seriously. That we stayed here in this same town where we grew up. Here you are, dear.
Thank you.
The same friends. Even the same street. It's been a peaceful life. Not very exciting, but...
Daddy.
Margaret finds it pretty exciting.
Yes. You better take her out to the lot before she collapses.
All right, now, where is your screaming woman? Lead me to her.
Over here, where our fort used to be.
Fort?
There's a big concrete pipe. It's all covered up now.
Yeah, Kelly's really getting this lot filled in. All right, where's the lady?
Right about here, Daddy. Listen.
Don't hear a thing, except the wind. Better button up your sweater, Puss.
Shh. Listen.
Well, that's the trolley over on Aspen Street.
Hey there, screaming woman. Hey!
Looks like the Dolans are starting out for a drive. Well, I guess your screaming woman's let you down, Puss.
But she was here, Daddy. Right under here where they dumped all this dirt. I heard her screaming and screaming, like she was underneath the fort. Somebody's dumped tons and tons right on top of our fort.
Yeah, too bad they buried your fort, Margaret. I saw 2 of Kelly's big trucks backed in here last evening. There was a dump truck in here this morning, too.
It isn't because they covered the fort.
It must be your screaming woman doesn't like grown-ups. Only delivers her solo for kids, I guess.
Maybe she can't scream anymore.
Well, I'm going back and take a nap. Let my dinner settle.
Well, aren't you going to help me dig?
Now, listen, my dear. Don't you think this is a sort of a silly game?
But it's not a game.
Now, don't stay too long, dear. Mama probably likes some help with those dishes.
Daddy! Daddy! I know I heard her scream. I know it. Oh, darn, darn, darn! You're there. You're still there. Hey, screaming woman! Oh, why did you scream before? Why didn't you scream so Daddy could hear you? Don't just scream for me. I can't help you all by myself. Daddy, where are you?
Upstairs, Mother.
Daddy, she's screaming again. Right after you left, she started to scream. You've got to come back.
Oh, there now. Come here. Let me feel your head.
Please, Dad.
Why, you've got a fever. You're going to lie down, young lady.
We can't leave it down there, Dad. We just
Come
can't.
on along. Come on into your room. That's right.
It's awful, Dad. It's awful for her to be screaming and nobody listening. Nobody
You
caring.
lie down, Puss. Lie down now. Come on.
She'll choke where there isn't any more air and she'll die.
Now, you're going to lie down the rest of the afternoon before you make yourself sick.
No, I've got to dig. I've got to dig her up.
It's all those comic books you read. Now, I forbid you to leave the house. Close your eyes now and take a nap. That's my good girl.
Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Miss Margaret O'Brien in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
I have a hunch you're going to give me another Autolite Stay Full Battery Thanksgiving song.
No, not me, Hap.
No?
No, sirree. By Cornelius, I'm going to tell a Thanksgiving story. It's a fable.
Couldn't be anything else if you told it.
Now, listen to this, my trigger-tongue trooper. Last year at this time, my car called me out to the garage. Quite a car, too, Hap. Once a year, she overhauls me.
Wow, and on Thanksgiving Day, too.
Harlow, she said, I have an empty feeling, and I'm so confounded thirsty all the time, I think you ought to do something about it. I'd like to end up Thanksgiving Day with that fine, full feeling that lulls you to sleep as soon as the mince pie disappears. Well, how, my pretty, says I, can all this be accomplished? Easy, she chimes. I need to switch to an Autolite Stay Full battery. Why, with an Autolite Stay Full battery, I'll never be thirsty, and if you use me normally, I'll need only 3 drinks a year. And what's more, with the oversized electrical capacity and fiberglass insulation of that Autolite Stay Full battery, I'll have more power, stay lively longer, and save you time, trouble, work, and worry. And Harlow, for a fellow as lazy as you are, think what all this means. Well, when she came up with all those points in my favor, I hurried, I hastened, I hurtled till I was exhausted. And by Christopher, I got an Autolite Stay Full battery and gave it to Clarissa. I call my car Clarissa. Thanksgiving morning. We took a spin, and I could tell she was happier than a penguin with skis.
Sounds like Harlow in Wonderland. Well, now, let's get back to Margaret O'Brien and the Screaming Woman.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Margaret O'Brien as Margaret in The Screaming Woman. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
After a while, I stopped crying. I had to get back to the lot where that woman was screaming, but I was locked in. I tied a sheet to the bed and let it out the window and shinnied down to the ground. Then I ran to the garage and got shovels and ran to the empty lot. The sun was almost down and it was getting cold. I started to dig fast.
Hiya, Maggie.
It was Dippy Smith, who was 10 years old, the same as me. He goes to my school.
What you digging for?
For a screaming woman. She's down in the ground and I'm going to dig her up. You can help me dig, Dippy. There's an extra shovel.
I don't hear nothing. I don't dig unless I hear a scream.
Then listen.
I don't hear nothing.
Just wait. You will. There. Did you hear it?
Hey, that's okay. Do it again.
Do what again?
The scream. Do it again. Go on. I'll give you this Aggie if you teach me to do it. Hot dog, did you get that ventriloquist book for a dime from that magic company? You got one of those tin things in your mouth?
I won't tell unless you help me dig.
Okay, swell. Give me the shovel. Hot dog.
And you got to dig fast. Like this, Dippy.
Boy, you think she was right under our feet. You're wonderful, Maggie. Say, what's the screaming woman's name? You must have made her up a name.
Oh, sure. Her name is Wilma Schweiger, and she's a rich old lady, 160 years old. And she was buried by a crook named Spike. Come on, Dippy, dig. Keep digging. We can't stop, Dippy.
Oh, I'm tired. I think I'll go home.
Dippy, stop. You can't. There really is a woman buried here.
Well, sure. You said so, Maggie.
Oh, don't you believe me? I wasn't throwing my voice. Come back, Dippy.
Okay, but I'm getting tired of digging.
Now, look, Dippy. I'll go way over here, and then you listen.
Okay.
Listen.
Hey, there really is a woman here.
That's what I told you.
Well, come on, let's dig. How's she breathing, do you think?
I think she's in the fort. Remember?
Sure. That's where she must be. 5 or 6 of us kids could get in it so it's big enough. I sure hope it isn't just a radio or something.
Well, a radio would be nice, too.
Here. What do you kids think you're doing?
Oh. Hello, Mr. Kelly.
I'm tired of chasing you out of this lot. If one of you gets hurted, maybe your folks would sue me.
But, Mr. Kelly, there's a woman screaming.
You kids beat it. Do you hear?
Yes, sir.
But listen, Mr. Kelly. Don't you hear her? There.
I don't hear a thing, and neither do you. Now beat it.
Come on, Maggie.
Mr. Kelly, somebody's got to dig her up.
Don't argue with me or I'll phone your folks. This is my property. Do I have to put up a fence? Why should I spend money to keep people off my own property?
Dippy, it's him. He's the one.
Huh?
He murdered Mrs. Kelly. He hit her on the head and stuck her in the fort and dumped loads of dirt on top. But she wasn't dead. She came to. Why, you saw him. He stood right there when she screamed and wouldn't pay any attention.
Hey, that's right. He stood right there and lied to us. What'll we do, Maggie?
There's only one thing to do. We'll phone the police and tell them to come and arrest Mr. Kelly.
Hey, they sure got here fast, Maggie.
Shh. Don't make a sound.
Is Mr. Kelly in the house?
Yes, he went right home from the lot.
Yes, officer.
You, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Is Mrs. Kelly at home this evening?
Why, sure.
Can I see her, sir?
Why, sure. Hey, Anna. What's up?
We got a call. Oh, good evening, ma'am.
What is it?
Oh,
I'm sorry, folks. We got a call that Mrs. Kelly was buried alive in an empty lot. Sounded like some kid calling, but we had to make sure. We always check, you know.
Oh, I can't understand.
It's those blasted kids. If I ever catch them, I'll break their necks.
Maggie, Jesus!
Boy, if Mr. Kelly telephones my dad, I'll get a licking.
What'll we do about the screaming woman?
What the heck with her? I'm not going near that lot again.
Wait, Dippy.
Huh?
I know why he didn't hear the scream. Kelly's sort of deaf. Mama says he's hard of hearing.
He heard us, didn't he? He heard the cop.
He reads people's lips, but he couldn't hear the screaming woman because he couldn't see her. Dippy, come on. We gotta dig some more.
No, sir.
But we've got to.
We're already in a peck of trouble over your darn old ventriloquist voice. I'm not going to get in any more trouble. No, sir.
And he went off and left me alone. I wanted to crawl down under the ground with the screaming woman and die, too. It was dark now, and Dad would be hunting for me. If he found me, I'd get a licking and be put to bed. And then nobody would help the screaming woman at all. There was only one last thing to do. So I did it. To go all over the neighborhood from house to house and find out who's missing.
Why, hello, dear.
Hello, Mrs. Griswold. Is anybody missing from your house? Is your sister from Detroit still here?
Yes, she's sitting right over there by the radio. Don't you see her? Little Margaret Leary walking.
No, I only wanted to see her, Mrs. Griswold. I was just wondering. I just wanted to know if she was here. Hello, Mrs. Pikes. You're looking good. I'm glad to see you're at home, Mrs. Pikes. I'm awful glad. Mr. Hyde, is your wife still here?
Dora, aren't you out pretty late, Margaret?
Yes. Oh, hello, Mrs. Hyde.
What is it, Margaret?
I just wanted to see you, Mrs. Hyde. That's all. The hours were just rolling along, and I rang bells and knocked, and I rang bells. I was about to give up when I came to the Nesbitt's house. The house was quiet, like nobody was at home, but I saw a dim, spooky light inside somewhere. So I just kept knocking and knocking. Oh.
What do you want?
Oh, nothing, Mr. Nesbitt. I only wanted to see Mrs. Nesbitt.
She's not here. She's gone to the store.
At night? Besides, it's closed today, I think.
The drugstore down on Clark Street.
Oh, well, then she ought to be back pretty quick. I'll come in and wait.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'll just sit down here and wait. I sure like this rocking chair. Go right ahead and do whatever you were doing, Mr. Nesbitt.
I wasn't doing anything.
Oh, looks like you were packing or something, with all those boxes and trunks around. Going away?
No, Helen's been sorting things out, getting rid of a lot of stuff.
Oh, burning it up in the fireplace.
Yeah, that's right.
Dad always burns our junk out in the alley. Clothes smell awful when they burn.
Look, kid, Helen may have gone on from the store to visit a friend.
Well, if she doesn't come back soon, I'll leave.
Yeah, I'll tell her you were here. What do you want to see her about?
Oh, nothing much. Hey, that's too bad.
What?
I guess you lost the key to that box. You had to break the lock.
No, it was broken already. Yeah, I bet your folks don't know where you are, kid.
No, sir. They think I'm in bed. What friend did Mrs. Nesbitt go to visit?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, hey, look, kid, I ought to tell you, she won't be back tonight.
Oh?
No. She went to the store, like I said, but she was going from there over to Beechwood to visit her mother. On a bus. She'll be gone 2 or 3 days.
Oh, that's a shame.
Why?
Well, Mama was expecting Mrs. Nesbitt to come over tomorrow. Maybe to sell.
Hey, you better not tell your mother. You see, it's kind of secret about Helen going away. She doesn't want people to know for a while.
Oh.
You know how to keep a secret, kid?
I guess so.
I'll give you something for not telling. I'll give you a reward. Let's see. Hey, here's something for a kid. A doll.
A doll?
Yeah. Helen was going to give it to you. I heard her say when she was sorting the stuff. She said, I'll give this to the little Leary girl.
Mrs. Nesbitt always calls me Margaret.
Well, sure, that's what she said. Margaret. That's quite a doll. Old-fashioned. It's made of leather. Face is china or something, see?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Nesbitt.
It's a reward for not saying anything about Helen being gone. Understand? Now, come on. I'll snap on the porch light.
Mr. Nesbitt, did you finish your driveway?
What do you mean?
Did you get all the dirt hauled off to make it smooth?
Sure. Now, come on.
I saw your dump truck in the lot this morning and...
What do you mean? Were you in the lot this morning?
No, I was at home. I looked out the window. Please, Mr. Nesbitt, let go of my arm.
You've been playing out there today? Answer me.
Oh, don't. That hurts. I wasn't playing. It's no fun now with our fort all covered up.
The fort? What's that?
Nothing, Mr. Nesbitt.
Tell me what you're talking about.
Nothing but that old concrete pipe.
You know something. That's why you came here. You've been snooping around that lot and you found out something. What do you know?
I don't don't know anything. Let me go, Mr. Nesbitt. If you don't let me go, I'll...
Come back! Hey, come back, kid. I'll give you something else. I'll give you something else. Come back, kid. Come back.
Mr. Nesbitt yelled because I kicked and bit his hand. Then I ran, but I heard him running after me. It was dark and quiet and scary on the streets, and more scary out there in the lot. I ran straight across the place where I heard the screaming, and it was so quiet. And all of a sudden there was a man in the lot, right in front of me.
Stop, Margaret.
Oh.
Margaret?
Oh, Daddy.
Margaret, where have you been? Do you have any idea how your mama's worried? Do you know how late it is?
Daddy, he's after me.
We've been
Mr.
up and
Nesbitt.
down alleys and clear down to Clark Street. I was about to call the police.
The screaming woman. It's Mrs. Nesbitt down there.
I'm going to give you a good licking.
Mr. Nesbitt killed her, and now he wants to kill me.
I've had all of that idiotic talk I can stand.
It's true. You've got to believe
Margaret,
me.
I'm going to lick you right now, right here. I've had enough of... What have you got there? Where did you get that doll?
Why, I gave it to Leary. The kid stopped by the house. I remembered Helen said she wanted to throw it away.
Helen said to throw it away?
He's lying, Dad. He gave it to me so I wouldn't tell about her. It was locked up in a box. He didn't have the key. He broke it open.
She's a high-strung kid, Leary. All the stuff she was telling me.
He's lying, Dad.
Yes, he is lying. Why are you lying, Charlie?
Lying? How do you get that, Leary?
Helen never let you have that doll. It was locked up. It was a present I gave her a long time ago. She wouldn't throw it away anymore, and I'd throw away the paperweight she gave me. Why are you lying, Charlie?
I'm not. Don't look at me that way, Leary. As God is my witness,
It's her. Dad, it's the screaming woman.
As God is your witness.
Leary, don't! No!
Margaret, run to the house. Phone the police and tell them to hurry. Tell them we've got to dig.
Hello?
Hi, Dippy. Everything's fine. Everything's worked out clean. The screaming woman isn't screaming anymore. And they've got a lot of people down there digging her up.
Hey, that's swell. Hot dog.
And you know what else, Dippy? They're going to uncover our fort again. Oh, Dippy, wasn't it a keen Thanksgiving?
Thank you, Margaret O'Brien, for a splendid performance. Miss O'Brien will return in just a moment.
Oh, that Autolite Stay Full battery fable wasn't bad, coming from a fairly fabulous fibber.
Ah, but you haven't heard all of it, Hap. Why, by Cornelius, Clarissa, that's my car, spoke to me again this morning. Thanks to you, she said, and that Autolite Stay Full battery, this has been the happiest year of my life. Why, even these cruel, cold mornings, I've got that Autolite pep, that Stay Full battery, get up and go. Well, Clarissa, I says to my gas buggy, you're the queen of the May, the lass with the delicate air, and the pride of Wilcox Alley all in one. What do you want now, my Thanksgiving precious? And she says, just to go to sleep out in the garage once again. Why, Harlow, you can even use my Autolite Stay Full battery for a pillow. Happy slumber and good night, everybody.
And remember,
Autolite means batteries.
Stay Full battery.
Autolite means spark plug.
Ignition-engineered resistor spark plug.
Autolite means ignition systems.
The lifeline of your car.
And now here again is Miss Margaret O'Brien.
It's been just wonderful being on Suspense. And I hope you'll let me come back again sometime.
We will, Margaret. And now let me tell our listeners about next week. Claude Rains and Vincent Price in the famous mystery story, The Hands of Mr. Ottermole. Another gripping study in suspense.
Margaret O'Brien appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor picture The Three Musketeers, starring Lana Turner, Gene Kelly, and June Allison. Tonight's suspense play was by Ray Bradbury, adapted for radio by Sylvia Richards, with music composed by Lucian Morowek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. In the coming weeks, Suspense will present such stars as Rosalind Russell, James Cagney, Ronald Coleman, William Bendix, and many others. Make it a point to listen each Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. And next Thursday, same time, hear Claude Rains and Vincent Price in The Hands of Mr. Ottermole.
This is the Autolite Suspense Show signing off. Good night. Switch to Autolite.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
America was not yet at war, and the air in Washington was summer pleasant. But neither Katharine Hepburn nor her supporting cast nor I thought of pleasantries in those days. We were there to try and convince a handful of congressmen to permit refugees to enter our country, very small refugees, baby refugees who would be in the path of the German blitzkrieg. We did the broadcast, and happily our immigration door opened a small blessed crack, and some very small blessed children escaped Hitler and company.
Innocent children caught in the whirlpool of inhuman hatred. Children ostracized, excluded from schools and public places, threatened with physical harm, forbidden the simplest requirements of spiritual survival. Surely our American sympathies go out to these, the most pitiful and helpless of sufferers. America must do its share in offering refuge to some of these children as a token of our sympathy and as a symbol of our faith in the ideals of human brotherhood.
Miss Katharine Hepburn in another original drama. Its title, Miss American.
The scene, a great luxury liner returning from Europe to America. It is late at night. A girl stands on the boat deck looking out into the darkness, her face to the wind that lifts whitecaps on the tumbling sea. Suddenly, an older woman approaches and speaks.
Well, Ronnie, I must say this is a peculiar way to behave. What did you say, Aunt Mary? I said it distinctly and you heard me. Do you realize that people have been asking about you? Have they? Oh, Ronnie, do come downstairs, standing up here in the cold. Please, I'm all right. Oh, Ronnie, what is the matter with you? Poor people. People? Oh, that. Well, after all, my dear, there are always a certain number of undesirables on board a ship this size. And if you'd only stop wandering up and down the second and third classes, you'd find everything quite right and proper. Right and proper. As for the children, I spoke to the captain about them. Did you? Staring at us every time we walked the deck. I told the captain exactly how we felt about the matter. We? The things we talked about this morning. Oh, yes, I remember. I should think you would. You were quite definite in your opinion. And, of course, I agree with you. They've no right to take such young children and bring them to New York to heaven knows what. But you know the captain. That little charming smile, and he changed the subject, and, oh, well, what difference does it really make? We'll be ducking in the morning and away from all this. Aunt Mary, there's something I want to tell you. No, tell me later, my dear. Right now, the thing for you to do is to go down, get dressed, and join the others just as quickly as you can. Come now. No, I want to stay here. Why, Ronnie, please, a few moments longer. I'll come down. Ronnie, I've never known you. Oh, very well, have your silly little mood. But I don't understand what it's all about. Mooning up here in the dark like a romantic 16-year-old. All I say is hurry downstairs. We'll be waiting for you. Romantic. Yes, it is romantic. I'm in love with. If she knew. In love with. Yes. Love at 23rd sight with.
America.
That's a childish thought to have.
Patriotic, Pat.
Of course it is. Of course. Getting softening of the brain. Thinking silly things. Over-emotionalized. Ought to go below and join the party. Stop standing here thinking to myself.
America.
No. No, why shouldn't I think it out? How did it start? The things we talked about this morning. Yes, Aunt Mary did say that. The things we talked about this morning. Those children.
Always staring at us.
Why bring them over?
Full of foreign ideas. Always staring.
Not like us. Foreigners. Not like us. Not like us. I said that, I remember. Not like us. Not like us. Not like me. Not like me. Resented their being on board. What happened? Oh, let me remember. I went walking on the lower deck. They were sitting there as usual.
The four of them.
Yes, the four of them. Sitting in a row. White faces, staring eyes, looking at me. At me. I couldn't stand it. What did I say? Yes, I said. You, children, don't you know it's bad manners to stare at people? For a moment, no answer. 3 little boys, 1 little girl. Their staring eyes. Why should they stare at me? I said, answer me, one of you. If you're coming to America, heaven knows why, at least they should have taught you some English. They didn't move. 4 rigid little figures. And then...
They all speak English.
Well, at last, the state speaks.
No, that is not my name.
He said that. Then he closed his mouth. And the 4 of them were sitting there once again. Those eyes of theirs, staring. I said, what are you sitting there for? I've been watching you all through the trip. You sit there in those deck chairs hour after hour. What are you waiting for?
America.
She said that, the little one. And then she closed her mouth so tightly I could see the muscles of the corners of her lips. She sat there tense, frightened. Not another sound from any of them, their eyes beyond me, on the sea, on the horizon. I said, all right, you're waiting for us to reach land. But what's that got to do with the 4 of you getting up, running around, having fun? Come on. Don't you know how to laugh? Do you know how?
Then we are in America. Then we will laugh.
So that's it. You don't like the sea. You're waiting for the land.
No, we are waiting for America.
Waiting for America? What silly nonsense were these children thinking? Couldn't laugh until America. I thought to myself how silly. Proves these children strangers, aliens, foreign to our thoughts. Aloud, I said, listen, the 4 of you. Are you trying to rid me in your infant continental manner? If you're waiting until you land, until you laugh, I'm warning you, you better start laughing now. There isn't much to laugh about there, let me assure you. The dullest, dumbest place on earth. Why do you think I went abroad? Laugh in America. Don't make me laugh. We've got depressions and recessions and concessions and dissensions and... And while I kept talking, the children's faces grew angrier and angrier, their eyes larger and larger, hating me for what I was saying. Angrier and angrier until at last one of them cried out,
No, wait.
Wait?
Miss American, wait. What you say, it is not right.
What's not right?
All these things you say of America. I do not understand. I do not know. But this I know. It
It is not right.
No, that is not right. Wait a moment. And what is right, Herr Professor?
America is good. And it's a good place. Because, yeah, you say it. Because in America, all men are
created equal.
Yeah, and they are endowed by their creator with the right of life, on liberty, on the source of happiness.
Bravo! Right out of the old Declaration of Independence. So where did you learn that? And what does it mean?
Young teacher. Yeah, yes. Here on the boat, they gave me a book. I read. How you say it, Miss American? I teach.
You teach. You. And what you teach, all that about life and liberty. What can it possibly mean to poor children like you?
Maybe I do not understand everything you say, Miss American. But what we learn, it means that no matter what is wrong in America, it can be fixed. We are free and equal, and we can work and help America.
Help America? When he said that, I didn't have anything more to say. Nothing cute or bright or clever. Poor little children. I stood in front of them. Suddenly, I wanted to say so many things to them, but my throat, I couldn't. I couldn't until one of them said,
Please, Miss American, what the book say about America? It is all right.
Right.
Tell us of it, Miss American.
Pity. America. It's very large and very beautiful. And all the people in it, or their fathers, or their fathers' fathers, came over the water to it, just the way you're doing. And there's a bigness to it, and a braveness to it. And you need never be afraid. And no matter what goes wrong there's always hope, as long as there's someone like you to remind the rest of us that the American way is the human way. That's what I said to them. Yes. And they came close to me and touched my hand. And they smiled at each other and at me. And so I'm in love. Yes, in love. With my country. For remembering 4 little people who want to help us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we bring this program starring Katharine Hepburn to a close. The broadcast was especially written for this occasion by Art Oberle. The cast included Betty Kane, Jackie Grimes, May Grimes, Jackie Kelt, Adelaide Klein, Ed Latimer, Bobby Reddick, and George Wallach. And speaking, Raymond Edward Johnson. The music was composed by Leith Stevens, who conducted the orchestra.
Unsolved Mysteries. due deference to people who may still be living, character names in some of these unsolved mysteries have been changed. No tale from beyond the frontier of mysterious Tibet or from the depths of dark Africa is more weird than tonight's unsolved mystery, laid in California. A mystery which, for downright eeriness, rivals the imaginative writings of an Arthur Conan Doyle. The scene is a famous war correspondent's home in Hollywood, California. A group of guests, seated comfortably on the wide veranda, watch the twinkling lights of the film colony. And every so often the stabbing finger of a giant searchlight cuts the deep blue of the sky and loses itself in the unfathomable spaces beyond. A prominent motion picture director sweeps his arm over the scene as he turns from the veranda rail to face the group.
Oh, I know everything's swell in Hollywood, but sometimes I'd like to get away from it all. Go someplace to rest where no one would ask any questions and where I could be alone.
And where no one would say yes.
Yes, instead of being asked questions and telling people what to do, I'd like to ask a few questions myself.
But would you like having someone tell you what to do? You've been an important director for a long time now. Taking orders from someone else might not be so easy.
Well, I'd like to try it. Yeah, it's getting late. I guess we ought to be letting you get to bed, Bill.
Oh, don't mind me. After all, I can get up when I like. I don't have to be on the lot at dawn.
But we really ought to be going. Come on, Bob.
I'll get you a wrap.
Wait behind a minute when the others are gone, pal.
Righto.
Good night, Bill. As always, we've had a swell time.
Good night.
Good night, Bill. Good night, Bill.
Sit down, Val.
Oh, why so serious, Bill?
I want to talk to you.
Yes?
Listen, old man. If you don't let up, you're going to crack. You can't go on the way you've been doing, working almost night and day, turning out super colossal. So, I'm not being sarcastic. Everybody knows that you're the director. But even genius must have a rest.
Yes, Bill, you're right, but
Wait. You said a few moments ago that you'd like to go somewhere where you'd do the questioning, where you'd be ordered about.
And I mean it. I wasn't just talking.
Well, I'll tell you where to go. But you must make me a promise.
Yes? I'll promise.
When I've told you, you must go. And you must go with no idea of personal profit or gain. No idea of using what you may find for picture material. Else, I don't know what might happen to you.
I promise.
Several years ago, I read a book called A Dweller on Two Planets. The man who did the physical writing claimed that one whom he called the Master stood by his shoulder and dictated the entire book. I checked into the thing and found that the author was only a young boy at the time the work was done. He would have hardly had the necessary experience to write such a book. So I investigated further.
I've read the book, written by Philos.
Yes. Well, I also saw an article printed in a prominent metropolitan daily. The writer had gone to the slopes of Mount Shasta and had discovered there the same type of people that Philos had written of in his Dweller on Two Planets.
Seems to me that I read something in the Times about strange, unaccountable lights being seen from the region of Mount Shasta.
Right. And so, all in all, and being a newspaper man and of an inquisitive turn of mind, I went there.
You did?
Yes. I got to Dunsmuir in Northern California about 10 in the morning. Soon after, began making my way towards the slopes of Mount Shasta. I had a strange feeling. A feeling of expectancy. There was a deep silence, except for the singing of birds and the sound of a waterfall. I'd been sitting on a rock. Oh, I don't know how long, when...
My son, do you seek knowledge?
What? Well, where are you?
At your side.
Oh, now I see you. What was that you said?
It is of no matter. You are a newspaper man?
Yes, I am.
But you would also seek the truth?
Well, to be quite frank, I read quite a bit about the masters of Mount Shasta, and I wanted to find out for myself.
That was known to us. I have come here to speak with you.
Yes?
Certain things will be disclosed to you, but you must not use these disclosures in your newspaper work. For the benefit of mankind, you may use them, but for profit, no. It is a testament between us?
Yes, I swear it.
We go now to the temple.
Temple? What temple?
The temple of enlightenment. It is before you.
But there is no temple. There was no temple. I can't believe my eyes. There it is, all gleaming white.
Come, my son. My son, Many things cannot be explained. You would have to stay among us for many years.
But at least tell me this. Who are you, and where did you come from?
We have been here always.
But why don't other people see you?
Other people do see us, my son. The visitors, the vacationists to the mountains see us. But to each is disclosed only what he wishes to see. To the tourist looking for the barefoot hermit, I am the barefoot hermit. To him who looks for a man grown old among the mountains, that is what I am. To the seeker after truth, I am a guide, the servant of the master.
But that still doesn't tell me who you are.
Some foolish ones think that we are descendants of the lost tribes of Atlantis. We were before Atlantis was.
You mean that you're centuries old, that you never die?
Death, my son, is but an illusion. Your friends in Hollywood who cannot see you, to them, you might as well be dead.
But they know I'm not. They know I'm away on a trip.
And should you decide to forsake the world and stay with us, what then would your friends think?
They'd think, well, that I'd suffered a lapse of memory or something.
And should the years pass and still you did not return, they would then think you dead. But you would not be. You would be with us.
I see what you mean. Things are comparative, aren't they?
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, they are one in infinity. In the great scheme of things, they are not separable. Look, if you would understand more clearly, look in the pool.
In the pool?
Yes, at your feet.
Well, I'll be. My house. And Val sitting there on the veranda. He's talking to someone. But there's no one there.
He is talking to you, my son.
But I'm here.
But he believes that you are there.
Oh, I see now. Yes, I'm there. And the friends of the other evening, the night I made up my mind to come here.
But a bare moon pass.
If you can do that, let me see into the future.
No, my son.
I'm not afraid.
No, I have spoken. Come, there is much to see.
We'll be right back with more of our Unsolved Mystery right after this short break. This is Unsolved Mystery on When Radio Was.
It's impossible to tell you of everything I saw and was told while I was there. Time meant nothing. What I'd left behind me in Hollywood meant nothing. I remember sitting thinking, and then looking up to find myself seated on the same rock I'd been sitting on that day the master first spoke to me.
Oh, you awoke to find yourself seated at the same spot.
Awoke? What do you mean?
Well, wasn't the whole thing a dream brought on by what you had anticipated?
That's what I thought at first. An extraordinarily vivid and realistic dream. But when I returned to the hotel, a few surprises awaited me.
Yes?
In the first place, I found that I'd been gone 90 days.
What?
The hotel people told me that I'd returned to the hotel, paid my room for 90 days, and told them I was going away for a time.
Was that when you sent me word that you wouldn't be back in town as early as you expected?
I never sent you any word.
But, Bill, you sent telegrams to Watkins, to Ruth, to Simpkins, and me.
You mean that you all received telegrams, but I didn't send them?
But that's impossible, man. Fantastic.
Perhaps. But you go to Shasta, or to Dunsmuir, and look at the telegraph company's files. You won't find any originals there. And here, let me show you something.
What?
This check. Look at it. It's the check the hotel people said that I gave them.
It looks all right to me. Your signature all right.
Did you ever see ink as black as that?
Well, no,
Hold the check up to the light. Can you detect any signs of the scratch of a pen?
No, I admit that
That check, Val, was never taken from my checkbook. I didn't write it. It's a sample of the master's powers of materialization.
But there must be some explanation.
Yes, I think there is, and I'll try to give it to you.
In just a moment, you will hear a solution to the Mount Shasta mystery. Ladies and gentlemen, inasmuch as any solution must of necessity be supposition, liberties of time, place, and characters have been taken in this solution for which you have been waiting.
Well, Bill, what about that explanation?
In the first place, do you think it's possible to think of the impossible?
Let me see if I follow you. Can I imagine the impossible? No, I don't believe I can. The very fact that I can think of something makes that something possible.
If you believe in the power of mind over matter...
Well, as far as I'm concerned, mind is all-powerful.
Now let's look at biology for an instant. Every so often, a specimen is found that is a definite link between some animal alive today and some other animal that has been extinct for centuries.
I see your drift. You mean that these people are a link between us and some long-dead people who possess powers we don't know how to use?
Yes. If you read Colonel Churchward's book on Mu, you will find logical arguments in favor of the theory that the Lemurians migrated to the North American continent.
And that some of them landed to the south and became the ancient Mayas.
Right. And the ancient Mayas certainly had something that we don't possess, as did the ancient Egyptians.
Yes, we're all too inclined to think of America as a land inhabited by nothing but warlike Indians before it was settled.
Only the other day, a skeleton was found near the La Brea pits in Los Angeles, and scientists are agreed that it's not less than 15,000 years old. So isn't it possible that descendants of these ancient peoples still live in isolated parts of the country?
And not liking our modern civilization, they simply withdraw from it?
That's it. After my experience, you can hardly blame me for believing that a strange people do live on the slopes of Mount Shasta.
The Whistler. And now the Whistler's strange story. Murder in Paradise.
High in the Sierras, a lone hawk circled over Mirror Lake, its beady eyes fixed on a white patch moving slowly through the blue waters below. From the narrow road that ran along the lake's edge, another pair of eyes followed the patch of white. Watched the girl emerge from the water and remove the white bathing cap. Saw the mass of red hair fall on tanned shoulders, now glistening in the bright sunlight. The eyes belonged to Danny Williams, who stood there looking at the girl in the yellow bathing suit. Then, as she sat down at the edge of the long wooden pier, he shifted the heavy suitcase from one hand to the other and started through the trees toward her. As he emerged at the edge of the lake, he walked into the range of another pair of eyes, looking through field glasses, trained on the scene from a point a quarter of a mile away.
Hello.
I'm looking for Paradise Inn. You know where it is?
Huh? You a salesman?
Do I look like one?
Oh, in a way. Are you?
In a way.
I don't think they'll be interested in buying any brushes.
Thanks for the tip, but I'm still looking for the inn.
Got a cigarette?
Sure. I'm smoking it.
How'd you ever get to be so charming?
Look, Red, they told me in the village the inn was a mile up the road.
So you know. Why come to the lake to ask me?
It was a bathing suit. From the road, I couldn't believe it.
Like it?
I'd seen more material and a pen like it.
The inn's over there. Take the side road.
Thanks.
See it?
Nothing wrong with my eyes.
From the way you've been staring at me, I thought you might have strained them.
A quarter of an hour later, you arrive at the roadhouse, a low white frame building sitting back silently in the shadows of the giant redwoods. This is it, isn't it, Danny? The Paradise Inn, where you're going to spend the next 3 months pounding the piano for Johnny Hedges. Your first job, Danny, since the prison gates closed behind you. Gave you back your freedom. And you've made up your mind that it will never happen again. You're going to stay out of trouble. That's all you can think about as you cross the parking area, mount the wooden stairs, and walk along the veranda. There's a musty odor in the air. You set your suitcase down by the front door. The entrance hall is empty, silent except for the buzz of flies against the sun-drenched window. You make your way across the deserted dining room, past the battered upright piano, and push open the swinging doors at the far end of the room. The short, gray-haired man at the sink turns, peers at you over his glasses, and then begins to wipe his hands on the soiled apron.
Hi, young fella. Hi. Where'll I find the boss?
Oh, he'll be around. You, must be the new piano player.
That's right, Danny Williams.
Williams. Danny Williams.
You never heard of me before.
I'm Gus Peters. I do the cooking there. Sit down.
Thanks.
He didn't meet you at the bus stop, huh?
Who's he?
Mr. Hedges?
Hedges? No.
How about a cold beer? You look like you could use one.
Got any milk?
Milk? Say, you sure you're the piano player?
I said I was.
Ulcers?
No ulcers. The cows need publicity.
Yeah, okay. If that's what you want.
Why didn't somebody meet me at the bus stop? It's a long hike out in this heat.
Well, I can't drive for one thing. Never could learn how. Slade is still sleeping, I guess. He wouldn't go after you anyway. And the boss had other things to do.
Must have outside interest.
Ain't business so much that keeps Mr. Hedges busy. It's keeping up with his wife that's got him going.
His wife?
Yep. Don't let her out of his sight much. Hey, want a sandwich or something?
No, nothing.
He doesn't trust her. Real jealous, you know. Thinks every man he talks to is going to take her away from him. How about a piece of pie?
No, this'll do.
Yeah. We sure have been having a fast turnover of piano players around here. They couldn't stay away from her.
It's the perfume, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Been only 2 men around here who ain't ever been bothered by Mrs. Hedges. Me and Andy Slade. You'll meet him. He works here in the back.
How does he manage to resist?
Ain't never been able to figure it out. He's strictly business and a natural cold fish. You leave your stuff on the veranda, Danny?
Yeah.
I'll take it up. Your room's in the attic next to mine.
Don't bother.
No bother. Just going upstairs in a few minutes anyway. Take a little snooze.
Any objection if I try the piano on for size?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks. Gus?
Danny.
Yeah?
Stay away from her, son. Just tend to your piano and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Hello. So this is what you sell.
Yep. Strictly music.
You play very well. Much better than the others.
Thanks.
I knew you would. I could tell by your hands. They're different. I bet you were a child prodigy.
I was born a poor but honest peasant in the Bronx. My mother scrubbed floors so I could have piano lessons. She thought I'd become a concert pianist. It didn't work out. Don't cry. I just made that up.
Who kicked you while you were down, music man?
Luck Red. Story of Danny Williams is sort of dull. You wouldn't be interested. Now, why don't you go back to the lake?
You're very rude.
Business is business, Mrs. Hedges.
Oh. You know who I am?
Yeah, the boss's wife. Period.
What does that mean?
It means I need the job and I don't like wives that are on the prowl. Sort of fast with your mitts, aren't you, baby?
Great start, friend.
Who are you?
Well, I'm not Johnny Hedges, if that's what you're worried about. Relax, friend. My name is Slade. Andy Slade. I got the gambling concession out back. Welcome to paradise.
It's an unusual job, isn't it, Danny? One of the strangest you've ever had. You never bargained for this sort of thing when you first accepted it. Johnny Hedges' roadhouse at Mirror Lake didn't seem to suggest the danger and intrigue that suddenly presents themselves. Lucille and the way you met her on the boat dock, the warning from Gus, and now the coldly calculating gambler Andy Slade stands at your side with the strangest greeting you've ever received.
Like I said, Williams, you're off to a great start. But here only an hour, and the boss's wife slaps your face. Political discussion, was it?
Yeah, you might call it that. Now, some dames get mad if you don't whistle at them. Anything else on your mind?
No, nothing. Except the boss wants to see you. We've been up there in the office listening to you. He thinks you're good.
And you don't?
Well, I keep telling him he'd be better off with a jukebox. Nobody ever heard of a jukebox making a play for a dame. You, know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Just let me give you a tip.
Save it. That's all I've been getting ever since I come here.
Okay. It's your funeral. But, Hedges is getting a little sick and tired of hearing the wolf call.
He said he wanted to see me.
Yeah. Up the stairs there on your right.
Thanks.
Oh, William.
Yeah?
It was nice to have you with us. I think you'll get to like it here. That is, if you stay long enough. Come in, William. Come in.
Your gambling concession said you wanted words.
That's right. I just want to iron out a few things before you start. Now, you're an ex-con on parole.
That's been ironed out. The past 3 years took care of it. I'm here to play the piano, and that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all you're here for. Just remember that. Some of the others didn't.
So I love music.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, Williams. I'm glad to hear it. It'll save us both a lot of headaches. All right. Now, you'll play in the dining room from 8 till closing time. You take the breaks to suit yourself. Won't be a lot of people in the dining room. Sometimes there may not be any at all.
I'm not fussy.
And another thing, you might as well know from the start. I don't make my money from the dining room. Not much on the bar either.
I didn't think it did.
I got a place fixed up in the back. Dice table, roulette wheel. Andy Slade runs that end of it. It's not going to affect you one way or the other.
Sure. Well, that all?
Yeah. Yeah, you met everyone, have you?
Yeah, Slade and Gus the cook.
And my wife. You were talking to her down there on the pier a couple hours ago.
Yeah. No one picked me up at the bus stop, so I had to walk. I was asking directions.
Uh-huh. All right, Williams, just remember what I said. You stick to your piano playing, we're going to get along fine. If you get bored, let me know. I'll buy you a book.
That night you play for a half a dozen couples in the dining room. And more than once during the evening your thoughts turn to Lucille. She means trouble, doesn't she, Danny? And you don't intend to have any. You're going to stay clear of her. You're going to play it safe with Johnny Hedges, her husband. You have no intention of winding up in the lake with a bullet in your head or back in a prison cell. In the nights that follow, you become accustomed to the habits of the Paradise customers. Learn when to be on hand, when you can slip away for a quiet smoke or a chat with Gus. And then one night in the middle of the second week, you go out on the veranda and light up a cigarette.
Hello, Danny.
Oh, hello.
You've done a good job these past 10 days.
Thanks.
Of staying away from me, I mean.
I catch on quick.
You don't know what it is to feel out of place. Go for drives all by yourself. Aimless walks along the beach.
You do that?
Almost every night after the customers leave. The cove on the North Shore.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. Get away, I guess.
From your husband?
From myself, maybe. I don't know, Danny. I'm just confused sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say so, too. Excuse me, William. I gotta go confuse some customers.
You leave her, Danny. Go back to your keyboard and the cocktail concerto. But somehow through the evening, the haze of music laughter in the smoke-filled room is something that haunts you, keeps drifting back like broken parts of an old refrain.
Almost every night after the customers leave, the cove on the North Shore.
It stays with you, Danny, that night, and into the next until after you finish playing, unable to fight down the urge, you find yourself slipping away, taking a rowboat and crossing the lower tip of the lake in the half-darkness. At the cove, you look around and there's no sign of her. You call yourself a fool and wonder why you came out here, when you promised yourself to stay out of trouble. You're about to turn back when...
Oh, yeah.
We can step right out here.
Yeah. I'll pull the boat up a ways. That's better. I really don't know why I came.
I'm glad you did, Danny. Glad to have somebody to talk to. But I don't want to get you into trouble.
Any harm in just talking?
He wouldn't think we were just talking.
Forget about it for a while, let's see.
Let's see. Sounds nice the way you say it.
Does it?
You know, Danny, you're not as hard as you pretend.
No?
If you were, you wouldn't have rowed way out here to meet me. Danny.
Yeah?
Don't do it again. You'll lose your job.
So it's a job, and with a piano needs time.
But it can cause you trouble. Danny, you've got to ignore me, act as if I didn't exist. If it's any other way, you won't last here. Not at all.
Is that why Slade lasted?
Slade and I hated each other from the first. Johnny knows that. That's why he gives Slade anything he wants.
Nice guy, your husband. Charming as a meat axe.
Please, Danny, I want you to understand because I'm going to avoid you.
You sound like a magazine ad.
Oh, Danny. Danny, why did you come here? Why?
I don't know. Boy Scout instinct, maybe.
But there's nothing we can do. I can't leave him. He'd follow me, bring me back.
Not if he doesn't want to come back.
You don't know him. He'd kill me, Danny, I know. Believe me, I know.
Maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, Lucille, give me a little time to think about it. You're in a tough spot. Maybe I can help you. I got a merit badge once for pathfinding.
When you leave her, Danny, and start the long row back across the lake, you remember a promise. One that you made to yourself about staying out of trouble. And you ask yourself if this is the way. When you arrive at the boat dock, you're convinced that it must end right here. And then going up the path toward the roadhouse, you pass a small cottage in back of the inn. And suddenly you're aware of voices arguing, and you stop to listen.
You drove around the lake. You met some guy.
Oh, don't please, I just...
Easy, son. Where are you going? I've been waiting to warn you. Hedges knows she met somebody. Good thing you didn't ride back with her in the car. Come on, Danny. Let's go back to the inn. Look, I'll fight. Come on, Danny. Yeah, I guess for a minute I had the crazy idea I should be butting in. You better stay clear of that setup, Danny. She's his wife. Not yours, you know. I just play the piano here, sure. That's what you get paid for. Okay. Just forget everything else, son. Forget everything. Except that you're the guy who wants to stay out of trouble.
If old Gus expected the passage of hours to make any difference, he was wrong, wasn't he, Danny? Even without seeing Lucille all that next day, you can't get her off your mind. The struggle within you goes on, and the following night, as your hands move across the keyboard when you entertain the late dinner crowd, and then shortly after 1 a.m, she comes in, moves quickly across the room, and as she goes past you at the piano, there's a quickly whispered message.
I've got to see you, Danny, out back. Come as quickly as you can.
You continue playing as if nothing happened. You've made up your mind, haven't you, Danny? You know it was a mistake meeting her at the cove. And you're not going to repeat that mistake, are you?
Danny.
Lucille.
Danny, I have to see.
Sure.
Oh, Danny, I can't stand it any longer. Danny, someone's coming.
Hello.
Easy.
I thought I told you to stick to your piano playing music, man.
Leave us alone, Lucille. Go back inside.
Danny, I'm afraid.
Go on. Yeah, beat it, Lucille. Because right now I'm going to go to work on him.
As Johnny Hedges comes out of the darkness after you, there's a flash of a knife blade. You lunge for it. It's like a nightmare, isn't it, Danny? All out of focus, unreal. A strange, struggling sensation. There's the fleeting memory of the knife falling on the path, and then movement over which you have no control. Blows falling, exchanging, a dull thud, and then...
Jenny, you all right?
I hit him, Gus. Came at me and I hit him. With this?
I know. Drop it, Danny. Drop it. Come on, son. You've got to get out of here.
No, wait.
He's still alive, Danny. You've got to get away before...
No, it was self-defense. I can tell him that.
They won't believe you. You're an ex-con.
Doesn't make any difference. I can't leave him like this, no matter what happens to me. I'm going to get him to a hospital. Come on, help me get him to his car. Still alive. And I've got to try to keep him that way.
Somehow you manage to get him into his car. And through it all, you know that Gus is right. The trouble you wanted to escape, you're now inviting, asking for. But as you back the car onto the road with Hedges in the seat beside you, all you can think of is saving him. And then suddenly you're aware of Lucille at the window of the car.
Danny. Danny, what are you doing?
Got to get him to a hospital. He'll die if I don't.
Danny, they'll arrest you. They'll say you killed him.
It was self-defense.
They won't believe you. I can't let you do it. Please, Danny, if you love me, you'll leave him here and get away. You do love me, don't you, Danny?
I'm taking him to the hospital, Lucille.
Danny, no!
She leaps back as the car moves forward. You catch a fleeting glimpse of her face, white, drawn, concerned, and then it's gone, and you're aware of Hedges beside you, breathing softly but steadily. And as your foot presses down on the accelerator, you realize that your own strength is fading fast. The struggle, Danny, the pounding you took, it's telling now as you fight to hold the car on the road. Moments later, a flash of light caught in the rearview mirror. It blurs your vision. In the haze, the fog that envelops your brain, you think you hear Lucille's voice. Her face seems to float close to you out of the darkness.
Danny! Danny, listen to me. Stop the car!
No, Lucille.
Danny, the car! Look out!
Coming around, Doc? Yes. He's going to be all right. I better call the lieutenant. You sit there with him.
Lieutenant. Police.
Take it easy, son.
That's where am I?
The hospital, Danny. You've been unconscious for over 12 hours.
Hedges. What about Hedges?
Hedges is dead.
Trouble, Danny. You were headed for it the day you walked up the road to Paradise Inn. No matter how hard you struggled and tried to avoid it, it was there all around you, closing in. Because you couldn't stay with your music and leave Lucille alone. She couldn't help it either, could she, Danny? You're sure of that. But it doesn't matter now. Because instead of helping her, you've ruined everything. Her husband is dead, and you'll be blamed, won't you, Danny? They'll never believe it was self-defense, not with your past record. You lie back on the white hospital bed.
Listen, Danny. The doc will be bringing the police back in a minute.
Yeah, I know. Hedges. Well, this is it. I have to tell him, cousin.
You don't have to tell him anything. You didn't kill him. You only knocked him out, Danny. He broke his neck in that car crash. You were crowded off the road, son.
What?
Lucille Hedges. She was trying to stop you.
Lucille. Is she all right?
No. She was killed, too.
Oh, it was my fault, because she was in love with me.
No, she wasn't. You played it straight. She didn't. She framed you, Danny. Set that meeting there behind the roadhouse with you knowing her husband would find you together.
What?
She wanted you to kill him. Didn't care what happened to you.
I don't believe it.
Son, that's why she didn't want you to make it to the hospital. She wanted him dead.
But Gus,
It was so she could be free for the guy who was driving the car after you last night. He was killed with her. Oh, the one guy nobody figured.
Slade. Andy Slade.
Uh-huh. The only guy she was ever crazy about.
The Whistler has been a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is Raymond, your host. Tonight we're going to make a long trip to Czechoslovakia. I'm afraid you won't have time to enjoy the scenery. It's dotted with nervous Nazis, and I don't think they like other nationalities. I know Inner Sanctum listeners are a reckless bunch, but I must warn you, don't give yourselves away by taking pot shots at the Nazis. We would like to return home with as few casualties as possible. But then, you never can tell. Travelling is so dangerous these days. Well, you ready for trouble? Oh, you're ready for anything. Well, that's good, because you may get more than that. Perhaps everything. Martin Gates, an Englishman married to a Czech girl living in Czechoslovakia, is one of the leaders in the underground movement. The story opens at a cottage in the woods on the outskirts of the small town of Galina. With him is his wife Anna and a friend, Joseph Barek. They are anxiously awaiting the arrival of another leader of the movement.
I wonder what's keeping Edward. He should have been here a half hour ago.
I'm sure he's all right, Martin. He has a charmed life.
He's never been late before. I hope nothing's happened to him, Joseph. He's such a reckless devil.
If he's not back within an hour, I'm afraid we'll have to consider him.
Don't say that.
I know how you feel, Anna. I feel the same. There's a very high mortality rate in the underground. Colonel Schroeder has sworn to personally execute every one of us.
Yes, Colonel Schroeder, the mad butcher.
They're all mad, inhuman monsters, every one of them.
Well, some of them have been systematically brutalized. But Colonel Schroeder's not only vicious and cruel, he's on the road to complete insanity. Just the Nazi type to govern a conquered people.
He must be exterminated. His plan is to kill every Czech, make room for German soldiers.
Yes, if we kill him, there'll be terrible reprisals. And we've got to find some other way.
I'd give my life 5 times over to kill him. I'd be willing to endure any torture just to be able to get my hands round his throat. A murderous dog.
For him, there'll be a terrible vengeance. There isn't a Czech within hundreds of miles who wouldn't risk his life to kill him. Our time will come.
There's someone at the door.
Keep calm. Anna, you get behind the bureau. You, Joseph, open the door. Keep your body hidden, and I'll cover whoever's coming in.
All right, Martin.
It's Edward. He's shot.
Close the door.
Run. They're coming. They know who we are. What happened, Edward? No time. Hurry, they'll be here in a minute.
Anna, get the first aid kit.
For heaven's sake, hurry. We're not going to let you bleed to death. It's no use. I'm finished. Bullet in my lungs. Hurry, please. Colonel Schroeder knows everything. He'll be here in a few minutes. Please, Martin, make them go before it's too late.
Edward's right. I can see them through the window. They're coming.
We'll go through the cellar into the woods. Bring the first aid kit with you, Anna. Joseph, help me carry Edward.
You fools. I'm dying. Save yourself.
Open the trapdoor, Anna.
All right. Hand it down, Martin.
Easy now. Easy.
All right. That's bullshit. Saving a dying man. You, Martin, you're not one of us. You can't save
Don't
me.
use your flashlight, Anna. Just walk straight through the tunnel. You can feel your way. As soon as we get into the woods, we'll patch you up, Edward. You'll be all right. Sit him down here. Yeah, we've got to work fast.
He's bleeding badly.
Hand me the iodine.
Goodbye, Colonel. Take care of Floyd. For me. I'll be waiting for him when he comes.
Edward. Never mind the iodine, Anna.
Dead?
Yes.
No tears. We don't mourn our dead anymore. I loved him as I would my son. But we don't mourn our dead. We avenge them.
Goodbye, Edward.
They're coming.
Better lose ourselves in the forest. We'll have to separate. We'll meet at the old well as soon as it's safe. Take care of yourselves. We need you both.
I can't go any further.
Yes, you can, darling. You must.
They're getting closer. Martin, go ahead without me. I'm only holding your back. We'll both get caught.
We'll either escape or be captured together. Now, save your breath, darling.
Listen to me, Martin. You're the leader of our movement. It's more important that you save yourself. If you love me, you'll leave me here. I can't go on anymore.
You can and you will. Oh, look. Look, we're in luck. Here's the screen. Now walk in the center of it. That'll throw the bloodhounds off the trail.
We'll have to find a place to hide.
Just hold out a little longer, darling. We'll find something.
Please.
That's what I've been looking for there. Look, a cave. We'll hide in there. Now, if we can only get in without stepping on the ground, we'll be fairly safe.
Let's see how we can do that.
It's only a few feet up. Yes, we can swing over to the mouth of the cave by this overhanging branch here. I'll go first, and you do exactly as I do. All right, Anna. Go ahead, and make sure your feet don't touch the ground.
I'll try.
You made it, darling. Well, now we'll hide in this cave. The dogs will never be able to find our scent.
I couldn't have gone much further.
Oh, bless you. You can rest now.
They're coming towards us.
They've stopped baying. The dogs have lost the trail.
What is the matter with the dogs? Why did they stop? They have lost the trail, Herr Colonel. Lost the trail? They got away? We've got to find them. Have the men spread out. They can't be very far. If you hear a sound, challenge it. If they don't answer it, shoot. Ja, Herr Colonel. They must not escape.
Those vicious beasts.
Be very quiet. With a bit of luck, they'll pass us by.
They'll surely examine the cave if they see it.
They won't notice it. It's well concealed. One of the Nazi swines nearby. Are you hurt?
No. It's so slippery in here.
I hope he didn't hear that stone fall.
Who is that? Answer or I'll fire.
It's Private Vogel. There does not seem to be anyone in here.
You had better answer more quickly when you're challenged. I almost shot you. You want any help?
No. I'll just look around some more and then I will come out.
Perhaps I'd better come in and help you. It's a good place for them to hide.
No, it is not necessary.
They are very tricky, these chaps. I'm coming in.
Anna, get as far back as you can. I'll take care of him when he comes in.
Maybe I can help you.
No. Do as I say.
Who is that you're talking to?
Oh, I was talking to myself.
Stay where you are, Anna. The rest will be here in a moment. At least this dog's dead.
So, Herr Gates, we finally caught up with you.
Just imagine the leader of the underground hiding in a cave like an animal.
You're mistaken, Colonel Schroeder. What you mean is hiding from an animal.
Still full of fire, aren't you, my brave Englishman? Perhaps it is only to hide your great fear of Colonel Schroeder, the angel of death. Anyone who looks into my eyes sees death. No one can look me straight in the eye.
Yes, perhaps you're right. Your face would frighten anyone to death, because it's hard to believe such eyes belong on a human face.
It is typical of you English to be melodramatic and defiant. But maybe before you die, you will be begging for mercy.
Mercy? I didn't know you knew what the word meant.
Too bad I must kill you. We could have such brilliant talk together. I like clever people. They are so stimulating. These Czechs, bah, they die quietly. They don't talk.
Someday they'll talk, Colonel Schroeder. It'll be a terrible day for all you Nazis. They won't talk then, they'll shout.
That day will never arrive. But you, Herr Gates, you'll say something bright, won't you, when you face the firing squad?
Yes. Yes, I'll say something. Something very bright.
Good. I like to see people die full of lust for life. Especially those who hate me deeply. You, Herr Gates, must hate me with a truly magnificent hate.
It's more than hate. It's the deepest kind of sickening disgust. Disgust for your ideas, disgust for that diseased mind in your fat, diseased body. And that, Colonel Schroeder's putting it mildly.
I could have you tortured to death. You would die in pain. It would take hours. But you can be spared all that. I might even spare your life. Tell me, where are the others hiding?
I'm sorry, Colonel Schroeder, but that's a military secret.
I see you are most anxious to die.
No, you're wrong, Colonel Schroeder. I'm very fond of life. Someone who had a great love for freedom once said it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. You see, I'm proud to be a human being. If I betrayed my comrades, I'd lose that pride. And that would make me something like you. Something that talks and acts like a man, but is really a beast. You understand me, don't you?
You're talking too much already. Shut up!
You're getting angry, Colonel Schroeder. If you're not careful, you'll be insane with rage, and that's not good for you. You may become completely crazy.
Shut up, I tell you! I've had enough from you! Shut up!
I thought you liked people who make a big noise about dying. You like people who talk.
I'll kill you with my own hands, you British fool! I'll teach you how to talk respectfully.
You've now lost complete control of yourself, Colonel Schroeder. If you could only see yourself now, raving mad, all your superiority gone.
That will keep you quiet.
Yes, that's always a way out, striking a defenseless man to soothe your ruffled nerves.
I'll take that calm look off your face.
It seems that it's you who are afraid of me, Colonel Schroeder.
Afraid of you, eh? That is a good one. We'll see how calm you look tomorrow when you're a corpse. Too bad you won't be able to see yourself. You'll be so dead.
Well, so this is a picture of what it's like to live in a country dominated and trampled upon by the Nazis. But then out of this horror, hate and violence, there are still men like Martin and Joseph who refuse to be slaves. It's these brave men who carry our future upon their shoulders. But then our story is far from over. There is an end to this story, a grim and terrible end. It is a few hours later now, in In the dark and early hour of the morning, Anna makes her way in wild haste through the forest to the hiding place of the underground. She finally reaches the old mill and...
It's you, Anna. I'm glad you've escaped.
They've caught Martin. They're going to shoot him.
I know, Anna. In the morning at the public square in Galena.
We've got to do something, Joseph. We've got to save him. We can't let him die.
I'm sorry, Anna. There's nothing we can do. I'd gladly give my life to save him. Every one of us would.
Oh, you're right, Joseph.
Later, when it's safe, we can give Martin decent burial. Czechoslovakia will never forget him. Don't hold back your tears, Anna. They're good tears. If I knew how, I also would weep.
Ah, Herr Gates. It is a beautiful morning, no? Take a deep breath. It is so good to be alive, isn't it? Almost makes you want to sing.
You're wasting your time, Colonel Schroeder. If you expect me to go to pieces, you're very much mistaken.
You're right, then, Herr Gates. We will not waste any more time. Sergeant Goulda!
Ja, Herr Colonel.
Escort the prisoner to his place. Right in front of that little grave we dug for you. You will be shot and buried at the same time. Very efficient, isn't it, Herr Gates?
I'm ready.
Forward! March! Company! Halt! Attention! Ready! Aim!
Hold your fire a moment. Herr Gates, you promised to say something clever before you died. We are listening.
German soldiers, as long as you live, you will never forget this cold-blooded butchery. Never will you wipe your hands clean of the blood you are shedding. Even if you survive this war and the terrible vengeance afterwards, you will never have a moment's peace. Your conscience will torment and plague you till the day you die. Turn your guns upon your real enemies, the Colonel Schroeders and the Himmlers, the Hitlers and all your evil leaders who are betraying you, who are sending you to die senseless deaths upon the battlefields. Turn your guns upon these monsters and help free humanity. Fire! Fire!
You are quiet now, eh, my brave Englishman? Too bad you have only one life. I would have liked to shoot you twice. Sergeant Goulda! Do not shovel the earth over him yet. It will be good for these Czechs to see their leader's corpse.
There isn't a single one of those beasts around, Joseph. Perhaps it's a trap.
No, they're just scared. They've lost too many soldiers during storms. There's the pit. He must be in there.
Those beasts. They'll pay for this.
Here we are. There's no one around. We'll have to work fast. Anna.
I'm all right.
I'll get into the pit and lift him up. Grab him by the shoulders and...
What was that?
It came from the pit.
It's Martin! He's alive!
He's alive! We've got to get him to shelter quickly. He's very badly wounded.
Alive! Oh, we've got to get him waiting here quickly. We've got to hurry. They may come any minute. Hurry!
Easy now. We'll get him away safely, all right. Just keep cool. There. Now, pull him up. All right. Now just hold him while I get him onto my shoulders. Good. It's a miracle, Martin. You've been executed, and you're still alive.
What's more, I'm perfectly all right now. All these shoulder wounds are practically healed.
You're not perfectly well yet, Martin.
Oh, I'm well enough. That speech I made before I was shot must have unnerved the firing squad. Only 3 bullets hit me, and all in the shoulder.
Perhaps you ought to wait another week.
No, I'm all right now. We of the underground have no time for luxurious convalescence. I have a plan to take care of Colonel Schroeder. Take care of him for good.
Let's hear it.
We're going to get him here, to the old mill.
Here? Give our hiding place away?
That's right. We'll have to find another hiding place afterwards.
How are you going to do that?
By dangling some bait in front of him.
I don't understand.
You're going to be the bait, Joseph. He's been waiting to lay his hands on you for quite a long time.
The feeling is mutual.
It won't be necessary to touch him. You see, he's on the road to complete insanity. All he needs is a little push, and we're going to give him that push. Now, listen carefully. This is the plan.
Colonel Schroeder, the company is ready.
Good. Tonight we finish off the last of the leaders of the underground.
Yeah, Colonel Schroeder.
We are going to visit Herr Josef Varek at the old mill in the forest. That will be number 3. Dinich, Gates, and now Josef Varek. Oh, the Gestapo will be pleased with my report. I'll write it with eloquent briefness. All leaders of the underground in Area 8 have been caught and executed. Signed, Colonel Schroeder. How does that sound to you?
Very excellent, Herr Colonel.
So this is where they've been hiding.
It looks quite deserted.
He's hiding in there, and we're going to ferret him out. Set the machine guns up in case he escapes us and makes a run for it.
They are already set up, Herr Colonel.
Good. You and I are going inside.
Perhaps we had better take a detail of men inside with us.
You are afraid?
No, Herr Colonel. But we may be surprised.
I'm going to shoot him myself. Let's go.
There's no one in this room.
Yeah. We'll go to the next room.
This room is also empty.
Come. We'll search the others.
Look, Herr Colonel. Under this closed door, there's a dim light.
Open the door slowly.
There he is. Look, Herr Colonel. He's hanged himself.
The swine. He tricked me. Could not stand it any longer, could you, Herr Varek? The Germans are too much for you.
Colonel Schroeder.
What is it?
It is not Varek. It is the Englishman, Martin Gates. But we shot him a few weeks ago. Yes, I had him shot 3 weeks ago. I do not understand.
We can leave now. Have some of the men cut him down. We'll get to the bottom of this.
They are all bolted. Fire the revolver. Call the men.
Sergeant Goulder. So, Colonel Schroeder, we meet again, eh?
Let me out. Let me out.
You can't get out. All the doors are shut, and your soldiers can't hear you.
I've got to get out. Let me go. Let me go.
No use, Schroeder. You can't escape. You can't ever escape. Why don't you shoot me? Perhaps you can kill me twice.
No, I do not want to shoot you. You are dead.
That's right, Colonel Schroeder. I'm dead, and so are you.
I'm dead? No, I'm alive. I will get out. Stop, Lieutenant! Help me! Oh, can't anyone hear me? I will go mad.
You're dead, Colonel Schroeder. That's why no one can hear you.
You lie! I am not dead. I am not dead, I tell you.
Your body is lying dead on the floor over in that corner near the door. You were shot in ambush by Joseph Varek.
You lie. There is no body on the floor.
You can't see it because you're dead. You're doomed for eternity to keep running in circles in this room. I'll always be with you. That's your punishment.
No, it is not true.
This is your fate. until the end of time, to see me hanging dead in front of you, a symbol of all the others you have killed.
It is not true. I'm alive. See, I scratched myself. I am bleeding. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive.
It is only the dream of the dead. You can't feel anything, can you?
I can. I will show you.
Try banging your hand on the door. You will see.
Yes, that will prove it.
I told you, you can't feel a thing.
I cannot feel anything. There's no pain. But I am alive, I tell you. See, I bleed. I will run my fingernails over my face again. See, I am alive. I will do it again. I am alive. I am alive. There's blood on my hand. There's blood on my face. I am alive.
Our score is settled with that butcher. A terrible punishment, but a fitting one.
That was ingenious, Martin, tying a rope around your chest and then slipping a noose over your neck to make it look as if you were hanging.
It got a little uncomfortable after a while. Even hanging by the chest was not pleasant.
My only regret is that I didn't kill Colonel Schroeder myself.
No, Joseph, this is much better. There will be no reprisals now.
All these Nazis will sooner or later wind up in the lunatic asylum where they belong.
No, Anna, they're not all lunatics. Most of them are very sane and very cunning gangsters. They're one of the deadliest plagues that have ever beset mankind. We must destroy them. And that could only be done on the battlefield. It's either them or us. And it will be them. The final victory belongs to us, the freedom-loving people of the world.
Well, that takes care of Colonel Schroeder. I do hope you're not disappointed that we didn't kill him. It's really a fate worse than death, don't you think? My only regret is that he wasn't a general. But now has come the time to close our creaking door and bid you peaceful slumber. Oh, by the way, if any of you come across any high Nazi officer, a general or higher, please let us know. We can use them on Inner Sanctum. Just communicate with Martin Gates. He's in charge of our corrective department. Yes, he corrects them or wrecks them. Inner Sanctum tonight, we had as our guests the following pallid people: John Saul as Martin Gates, Lyndall Barber as Anna, Lou Vernon as Joseph, Maurice Travers the German soldier, Lloyd Burrell Colonel Schroeder, Rod Taylor Edward, myself Molly Powell as Raymond, music by Wilbur Kentwell, production E. Mason Wood. Good night.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet, Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and features Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please for tonight is called Don't Tell Me About Halloween. I'm going to kill my wife tonight. Or maybe tomorrow night. I mean, I'm going to kill one of my wives. I'd better, or something's going to happen to me that won't be good. Well, Halloween's almost here. Halloween's the deadline. And Candace has to be dead before Halloween. Only trouble is, I'm not sure I'll recognize her when she shows up. You ever been in Salem, Massachusetts? Place where they hanged all the witches? No, they didn't burn them at the stake. A lot of people think so, but they didn't. They hanged them. All except the man witch, old Giles Corey. They pressed him to death. Very unpleasant. Well, it was in Salem this particular Halloween that I met Candace. It was dark up there on the hill where the gallows used to stand. Dark and cold with a damp wind coming in off the sea. A few little lights you could see in the dusk only made it darker and lonelier and creepier up there. I remember how I shivered as I started down the hill to town. And I remember how I jumped when something that looked like a black cat jumped out of the shadows at my feet. Without thinking, I yelled, "Who's that?" My heart almost stopped beating because
Well, good evening.
I'd been all alone up there. And then, all of a sudden, there was a woman standing beside me.
You're the first human being that's spoken to me tonight.
Who are you?
I'm Candace.
I don't know any Candace.
You didn't, but you do now.
You nearly scared me to death.
Oh, I wouldn't do that to you. What's your name?
Craig?
You like me, Craig?
What? Well, I don't know what you look like.
I like you very much.
Well, but I...
Kiss me, Craig.
No.
Kiss me, I say. You know, you're going to be a very nice husband to me, Craig.
What do you mean? I'm not going to...
Oh, yes, you are. When I say something's going to happen, it happens, Craig.
But I'm not...
Wouldn't you like to be rich, Craig, and have a beautiful wife? I am beautiful. You'll see. Wouldn't you like to be rich and wise and happy and live forever? Wouldn't you, Craig?
Who the devil are you?
Why, that's a very apt way of putting it, Craig.
Who are you?
I'm Candace.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
I'm the witch they didn't hang, Craig.
Well, she was right. I am rich. Whenever I need money, which hasn't been for a long time now, I ask Candace when she comes to see me at Halloween time. I am reasonably wise, I suppose. I'm quite an authority on American history, quite well considered at the university here. And while I can't say I've lived forever, I have lived 253 years. Now, that's right. You see, I met Candace on the hill above Salem in the year 1694. 2 years after Cotton Mather stopped hanging witches. Yes, Candace has kept her promise. I remember the way she put it, standing up there in the early morning, watching the mists crawling along the ground below us.
You'll not see me now till another Halloween. And I can't tell you what form I'll be in when I come to see you again. But if you see a strange bird or a lost dog, or any strange being at your door come Halloween, you say, "Who's that?" And if it so happens the stranger's me, why then I'll be home with you till the cock crows for morning.
And I remember I started to speak, to ask questions, but she stopped me.
For the time's short now, my love. And remember the words, and we've all the future before us. As long as I live, you shall live.
And below us somewhere a rooster crowed, and I was standing alone on the hill. And a yellow butterfly was rising in circles above my head. I watched it disappear into the first rays of the sun. No, I didn't believe it either. And yet, we were only 2 years away from the witchcraft trials, and whatever may be said today, the belief in witches didn't die as quick a death as modern historians would have you believe. I was there. I know. Besides, I had married a witch. Halloween 1695, a stray dog lay on my doorstep, shivering in the rain. I don't like dogs. I was about to boot the animal into the street when I caught a look in its eyes. I yelled, "Who's that?"
Well, it's about time. I've been lying there on that doorstep, freezing and nearly drowned without a stitch on, and you stand there and look at me like some great fool. Get me something to put around me and stir up the fire before I take my death of cold. And I do believe you were going to kick me, too. What did I ever say to you?
Candace, dear, how was I to know?
Give me that quilt.
Oh, she was all contriteness and apologies in a moment. But I can feel that slap alongside my chops from 2.5 centuries ago. And our first anniversary was a very pleasant one. I was rather glad I'd married a witch. It had its drawbacks, though. Despite wealth and growing wisdom, people around me in Salem grew old, and I seemed to stay the same age. I moved away, and the years went on. I moved away from Salem, and I moved away from Philadelphia, and I moved from Baltimore, and Richmond, and Savannah, and a score of other places. I spoke to George Washington, and I watched Robert Fulton's steamboat chug up the Hudson when I was more than 100 years old, and looked 35. And every Halloween I welcomed Candace home for a night. One year in a farmhouse on an Illinois prairie, a red fox whined at my door. And it was Candace. One year a blue jay flew down from a tree in Missouri. And another year, she came as a skittering little gray field mouse. And the year I came back to Wisconsin after the Civil War, a porcupine gnawed its way into my cabin on Halloween night, and one of its quills spiked me before I thought to say, "Who's that?" And when Candace smiled at me, there was only a strand of yellow hair through the thick of my thumb. I remember she pulled it out. And it hurt. Years and years and years. Now, she's been a wonderful wife, but I never forget what she is. Once a year is getting to be enough. It was just 67 years ago tonight, before Halloween, you see. That was the first time she appeared before Halloween, 1880. Rutherford B. Hayes was still president then. Yeah, it seems like yesterday. I heard something bumping against the front door, and before I thought, I called out, "Who's that?"
I thought you were never going to call me.
Darling, I didn't know it was you.
Well?
Huh?
Don't people kiss their wives anymore?
Darling, you surprised me.
Suppose you surprise me. Well.
How come you're so early, dear?
Oh, I just thought it would be nice to surprise you.
You certainly did surprise me.
Did I?
You certainly did.
What's happened since last year?
Why, nothing much.
That's so.
What have you been doing?
I've been away.
Where?
Craig, you'll be better off if you don't inquire too closely into my private affairs. Being married to a witch ought to be enough for you.
I'm just interested, Candace.
Like I'm interested in what you do when I'm away.
What?
I am interested, you know.
I don't know what you're talking about, dear.
You don't?
No.
Don't you ever get lonely while I'm away?
What? Why, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about, Craig.
I don't either.
You forgetting that I'm a witch, dear?
What?
You can't keep anything from me, Craig. Don't you know that?
Why,
Oh, I won't punish you, Craig. But you mustn't run around with red-haired girls.
Well, I don't know what
Oh, yes, you do. So I just decided to take that temptation away from you.
Candace, what did you...
Look over there at the window, darling.
And I looked. And peering in the window out of the darkness was a frightened, tiny red squirrel, its teeth chattering with terror and cold.
She's still got her red hair, dear.
Candace, did you do that to her?
Of course, dear. No, don't try to rescue her, Craig. I've got other plans for your little girlfriend.
What are you going to do?
Listen. Now come here and kiss me. Good.
Yes, in some ways it's fine. In some ways. You know, in the last 50, 60 years, I've gotten so I'm afraid to say who's that anytime. Wait a second. Did you hear anything? No, I guess she's not here. I wouldn't want her to surprise me again. I want to surprise her. It's 67 years ago that she set the wolves on that poor little red squirrel that was once Marjorie... I've forgotten her last name. But I haven't forgotten what she did to me. They arrested me for murder. Candace let me stay in jail a whole year. I waited till the next Halloween, 1881, till a little screech owl came and perched on the window ledge of my cell. And even then it took me half an hour to remember to say, who's that? Oh, sure, yes, she was very sorry, she said. Very sorry, but I had to be punished for being unfaithful to her. Unfaithful? I never even kissed Marjorie. That witch. Believe me, I was pretty careful after I got out of there and moved to Oklahoma. If I had any female acquaintances, I stopped seeing them along in early September. But, Donna, how would you like it if you only saw your wife once a year? And if you knew she could turn you into a caterpillar or a hippopotamus or something whenever she got miffed with you? You'd look around, too, just like I did. She nearly caught me again in Washington, D.C. That was in 1910. I'd been a good boy for nearly 50 years. Well, pretty good, or at least careful. I was standing outside the door of the Willard Hotel that Halloween night. A big moth dropped out of the darkness and lit on my shoulder. Candace likes to be a moth, I think. She appeared that way 15 or 20 times. Well, I knew at once what it was. My conscience was reasonably clear, so I just said, who's that?
Hello, darling.
Welcome back, Candace, dear.
Been a good boy.
Perfect, darling.
Love Candace?
Mad about Candace.
You better be.
Now, Candace.
You living here now? In the hotel?
I hope you like it.
I've never been in Washington before.
We go sightseeing tomorrow.
Oh, I saw quite a lot of it. Flying in.
Yes?
Who's that woman?
What woman?
Why, Craig, darling, where on earth have you been?
Yes, I thought Gertrude was in Chicago where I'd left her. Wasn't that just my luck? I don't know what Candace did to her. She just disappeared. But you know what that witch did to me? She turned me into a fire alarm box. Don't laugh. It isn't funny. From October 31st, 1910 till October 31st, 1911, I stood there in front of the Willard Hotel, rain and shine, snow and boiling hot weather. And nobody even turned in an alarm on me. Of course, they did paint me in the spring. Then at 11:30 on Halloween, a little black dog came by. I tried to say, who's that? And I made it all right because I could hear gears clicking and wheels turning. And there we were, Candace in a black fur coat, and me in a blue serge suit all plastered with red paint.
You look perfectly awful, Craig.
Well, how do you think I feel? Oh, my feet.
Well, now maybe you won't be chasing other women, my dear.
Candace, I promise I'll never do it again.
You better not, sweetheart. I'm a very jealous woman.
So I noticed.
And if you think that was bad, how would you like me?
No, Candace, please. No. Don't tell me.
You may kiss me now. Oh. And don't get paint all over my coat.
Candace can be very sweet when she wants to be. But these last 30 years, she doesn't seem to want to be very much. She spends most of the time she's here asking me questions about what I've been doing, where I've been, the people I've seen. And, friend, I'm getting awful tired of it. 253 years is a long time. A long, long time with a jealous wife. So I'm going to get rid of her. This time I'm done. No, I don't love Candace anymore. I'm afraid of her. I told you I got this job here at the university in the history department. I've got this little cottage up here in the hills where I go every Halloween. Well, I don't want Candace barging in on faculty row. Well, I'm not supposed to be married here. And you know faculty people. So, well, I've decided to end it all this year. I'm going to kill Candace. But that is, I hope I am. When she appears, I'm not going to say who's that. I'm going to kill her. And then Alicia and I are going to be married. Oh, I forgot I didn't tell you about Alicia. Here comes Alicia now. I'd like to have you meet her. This is Alicia.
How do you do?
Alicia and I are going to be married.
Yes, indeed. Right after Halloween.
Alicia's secretary to the Dean of Women.
Well, that's how I met Craig.
Well, I hope you don't mean to imply I was flirting with the Dean, Alicia.
Oh, goodness, no, dear. I mean, you were being introduced to her when we first saw each other.
Oh, darling. I'll never forget it.
Oh, I won't either.
Isn't she pretty?
Oh, Craig, you mustn't talk that way to strangers.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear, but you are pretty.
But I'm so much younger than you are, Craig.
Well, you are a little younger, dear, but that won't make any difference, will it?
Oh, not to me, darling.
Excuse us a second. Darling, I love you.
Oh, darling, I love you.
Yes.
Oh, but they're looking, sweetheart.
Shut your eyes a second, will you, please? Now, darling.
Craig.
You like her? Quite a girl, isn't she? Nothing at all like Candace. Man, am I tired of Candace. Wait a second, the phone's ringing. I'll be right with you. Hello?
Hello, darling. This is Alicia.
Hello, dear.
Are you going up to the cabin today?
I'm just leaving, darling.
Oh, I wish I could go with you.
Well, I do, too, but I'll be back in a day or so.
Oh, couldn't I, please?
No, dear, no. You know it can't be done.
I wish I could.
Well, it isn't practicable, dear. I'll hurry back.
I could drive up tomorrow.
I'll probably be back tomorrow.
I'll miss you.
I'll miss you.
I just wanted to say goodbye.
I love you.
I love you.
See you in a day or so, honey.
All right. But I wish I could go alone.
It can't be done, sweetie.
I might drive up and surprise
No,
you.
don't do that. Alicia, wait. Oh, my gosh, she can't do that if she doesn't. Hello. Get me 3412J. Well, so here I am. I wish I could have got Alicia back on that phone. If she comes up here, she'll... Oh, well, she won't. She's got better sense. Well, let's see, what time is it? Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. Revolver, silver bullet. The old Revolutionary War bayonet I had at Valley Forge. A Bowie knife Dave Crockett gave me. Pretty well fixed. Come on, Candace, honey. Come on. Yes, come on in. This time you can come ahead of time, baby, and Papa will be waiting for you. And then... Alicia. She's an owl or something this time. Wait a minute. Oh, if she's an owl, I better get that shotgun out. A moth, eh? Well, Candace. Here, where's that Saturday Evening Post? Light somewhere, darling. Light. There. Oh, mister, you're not going to get away this time, sweetheart. Get away from that lamp. Get away, I say. I got you. Oh, you're not dead yet. Well,
Never mind, Craig.
What?
Never mind. I'm going to die, all right.
Who's that?
It's too late, Craig. You've killed me. But haven't you forgotten something, darling?
What did I forget?
You forgot what I told you back there on the hill at Salem, sweetheart. You'll live just as long as I live. And when I die, you'll die.
Oh. Candace, let me help you.
It's too late, darling. Much too late.
Hello, this is Forest Ranger Station. Oh, hello, Brad. This is Joe Thomas. Listen, Brad, you better call the county cops or somebody. Well, I don't know. Well, I missed a little cabin halfway up Latigo Canyon. You know, the one with the red shutters? Yeah, well, I was on my way up to the station, see, and I meet this girl. Please be quiet, will you, lady? This girl and her car's busted down. Well, I picked her up, and she wants to come up here. What's your name, lady?
Alicia Dean.
Alicia Dean. So she's going to meet this fella here, she says, and I left her out, and I was just starting away, and I hear her scream. Scream, you know, holler. So I stopped and went inside, and she yelled her head off. Lady, please. Yeah, I don't know, Brad. It sure looked awful strange. No, there wasn't no guy here. No, nothing but a squashed moth. One of them big death's head moths, you know. And a skeleton. Yeah, a skeleton. All dried up and dusty. Like it was maybe 250 years old. And that's all. Just him and the moth. Funny, ain't it?
Listen to Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper. The man who talked to you was Ernest Chappell.
And Jarita Bauer played Candace, Alicia was Peggy Stanley, and the forest ranger was Jim Bowles. The music for Quiet Please is composed and played by Gene Perazzo, except, of course, for our theme, which, in answer to many queries, is based on the second movement of the Symphony in D minor by Cesar Franck. Now, for word about next week's Quiet Please, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Take me out to the graveyard. That's the title I've got for next week's story. Come along for the ride, won't you?
And so, until next week at this time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please comes to you from New York. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
No, stay where you are. Do not break the stillness of this moment. For this is a time of mystery. A time when imagination is free and moves forward swiftly, silently. This is the haunting hour. Date, in the dark. Midnight. Midnight in the metropolis. Town of 1,000 moods and contrasts. Of wealth and lightness and laughter. Of poverty, heartbreak, and tears. Of shadowy people and dark, dark things. Big city. Hard-boiled and tender. Weak and mean and cheap without dignity. And great and proud and powerful. And the metropolis at midnight, filled with the high spirits of joy seekers, revelers who give way to the goodness of living, or try to forget the badness of living. Midnight that is brooding, sinister. The sounds of the big city at midnight, the squeaks and roars of taxicabs, the rumble of trucks, the moan of river boats, and underground, the subway, and under and above, the sounds of the people, shrill, ribald, futile. But there is quiet, too, in the teeming city at midnight. The quiet that is broken by the wail of a child, the rattle of a snore, or, as in the home of Earl Breton, a private detective, and his partner, Owen Bailey, called the Professor. The telephone rings, and the Professor answers it.
Hello?
Earl Breton?
No, this is Mr. Bailey, Breton's partner. Who's calling?
This is Bill Henderson. Is Earl there?
Just a moment. It's Bill Henderson, Earl. You want to talk to him?
Bill Henderson? What does that crooked politician want?
Sounds very anxious.
Oh, that's too bad. Tell him I'm very busy. I gotta go to sleep.
Hello, Mr. Henderson.
Yeah?
I'm sorry, but Mr. Breton is not in...
Bailey. If Earl doesn't talk to me, he may be responsible for my death.
I can't possibly see how that...
Let me have the phone, Professor. Hello, Henderson.
Is you, Earl?
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I gotta see you right away, Earl. Can you meet me down at your office?
Office hours are from 10 to 2, Henderson. You know that. I'll see you tomorrow.
No, wait, Earl, wait. I tell you gotta see me tonight.
Now, look, I can't...
Wait until tomorrow, because I may never get there tomorrow.
How do you figure?
I can't explain it on the phone, but I know what I'm talking about. I gotta see you tonight. Gotta.
Where are you now?
I'm at my house.
Okay, give me a few minutes to get a cup of something warm. I'll meet you down at the office.
Oh, thanks a million, Earl.
Never mind the thanks. Bring some money with you.
Don't worry about that, Earl. This is worth anything to me.
Goodbye.
What seems to be his trouble, Earl?
Well, he's probably swindled one guy too many.
Good.
What do you mean, good?
I mean, he picked a good time for it. We can very well use the money, you know.
Well, you can start drawing the bill now, Professor. And remember, after office hours, it's triple the usual.
Here comes the elevator now, Earl.
If we ever make enough dough, Professor, remind me to move out of this broken-down building.
All buildings are pretty much alike at this hour of night.
How do they expect one old guy to take care of this whole thing by himself?
He manages if you don't rush him.
Yeah.
What devil has got his finger on it? Oh, it's you, Mr. Britton. Faith, you'll never be known as a patient man.
I hate waiting for elevators, old-timer.
Good evening, Mr. Bailey.
Good evening. You've got lots to do around here, haven't you?
Sure. I've got to make the rounds, you know.
How's business?
Oh, very slow, Mr. Britton. You're the only two people I've seen all night.
Hey, it's pitch black out here, isn't it?
You want me to put the hall lights on?
Don't bother, old-timer. We'll make it.
It might help if you throw your flashlight beam down the hall.
Oh, sure thing. How's this?
That's fine. Here. I've got the key, Earl.
Right. Thanks, old-timer. We're okay now.
I'll be seeing you on the way out.
Now, if I can just find the switch. Here.
What's the matter with the light?
Looks like the switch don't work.
It's working all right when I left this evening. Where'd I find the desk lamp?
Find it, Earl?
Yeah. You didn't take the bulb out of this lamp, did you, Professor?
Of course not.
I've got an idea, Professor, that we have company.
You're a very smart chap, Breton.
Who's that?
Just stay where you are, both of you, and don't ask any questions. Mr. Breton knows that those lights are not out by accident, but if either of you makes a false move, there could be one.
What are you looking for?
Information.
And why keep us in the dark?
There's enough light for me from that street lamp shining in your window. I can see you both.
What do you want to know?
I understand, Breton, that you got some new dope on the Kennedy murder. Am I right?
Kennedy murder? Why, the police gave Kennedy up as a suicide 5 years ago. What would I be...
Stay where you are, Breton. I told you I can see.
Yeah, sure. Seems kind of... Yeah, I guess our visit is a little touchy, Professor.
You didn't believe that I could see you. Next time, I won't miss. Now, give it to me straight.
I told you I don't like the smell of a body that's been buried 5 years, and I ain't digging it up. Now, what else do you want?
Mr. Breton, are you in there?
Don't make a move.
Mr. Breton. Mr. Barry, whatever happened...
Okay, I hope you get a big kick out of beating up a helpless old guy. That was very tough. Very.
Professor, what happened, Earl? Where are you?
Right over here where that voice was coming from, and he's not here.
Maybe he moved over to another corner of the room.
Duck behind something, Professor. I'm going to light a match.
Careful now, Earl.
Well, I'll be. There's nobody here.
Who's that lying in the doorway?
Wait a minute. Looks like the old timer. Here's his flashlight. I'll turn it on.
Put him in this chair, Earl.
No, it's too late, Professor. He's dead.
Dead?
That dirty rat killing a sweet, harmless old man.
Wait, what's this here on the floor?
Let me see
Hotel
it.
key.
Hotel Markham, room 517.
Think that fell out of the old man's pocket?
No, that's a mobster's hotel. It's full of gamblers and racketmen.
Then that means if we go to room 517, we ought to be able to find out the man who did this.
You don't find anybody in that hotel. You smoke them out. Besides, that key might have been stolen just so somebody could plant it here. Don't you see that?
Then how are we going to know?
The voice, Professor. I'll never forget that voice. I'm promising the old man now that I'll find it.
Well, what do we do, Oil?
You go find Henderson and tell him we won't be able to see him tonight. I'm going to the Hotel Markham. Meet me there as soon as you're through. In front of the hotel.
And what about the old man?
On our way out, we'll ring the night alarm. That'll bring the police.
But aren't we going to tell him what happened?
Right now, Professor, we don't know any more than they do. Come on, let's go. Anything I can do? Oh, hello, Breton. How's the hotel business? Oh, we don't complain. Who's up in room 517? Who wants to know? I understand there's a game going on. So? I'd like to get in. Well, there's a gentleman by the name of Sparrow rented the room. Maybe you know him. That's all I wanted to hear. You can tell my good friend, Mr. Sparrow, I'm coming right up. Don't worry. I will. Oh. By the way, I hear there's a shortage of keys. You still lose many of them? Certainly we do. Every day. That's very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, look who's here, fellas. My old pal, Earl Breton.
Hiya, Sparrow.
Fine. Come on in.
How's the game?
Pretty good. You want to take a hand?
Yeah, maybe. How long you been playing?
Oh, about 12 hours. Now, meet the boys. All right, fellas. This is Dan Huber. He's new in this town.
Yeah? Didn't take you long to find this place, did it, Dan?
Hey, I got a nose for this stuff.
Yes. And you know Harry Jackson, Earl, don't you?
Sure, I know Harry. How are you, Harry? Fine. What did you say, Harry? I said I'm fine. That's what I said. Sure.
Now, this is Willie Garvin, and over here...
That's a funny name, Willie.
What's funny about it?
How do you spell it?
Garvin.
Why? Does it sound familiar?
No, Willie, no.
And I don't have to introduce you to my partner, Joe Murray, huh?
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Funny to find you and Sparrow in the same game, Joe.
What's funny about that?
Well, after all, you and Sparrow are partners, aren't you?
Nobody said for you, Breton, and if you don't like what goes on here, you can shove off.
Come on, Earl. When are you going to stop binding up Joe? Anyhow, he just come in a few minutes ago. So we really just started playing together.
Oh, just came in a few minutes ago. Where were you, Joe?
Since when do I report to you?
Well, I'm just curious, that's all.
I told you before, Breton, I don't like coppers, and that still goes. Now, let's get the game going.
Well, Earl, you taking a hand?
Sure, but first I got to get the professor. He's got my dough. I'll be back in a few
Wait a minute, Breton. What are you trying to pull? Why didn't you bring your dough in the first place?
I just wanted to see who was in the game.
Oh, sure, Joey's got a right to know. Go ahead, Earl, get your dough. But don't forget to come back, huh? Otherwise it wouldn't look so good, huh?
Sure, don't worry. I'll be back.
Earl, come over here.
Oh. How long you been waiting, Professor?
I just got here. Did you find out anything?
No, not a thing. I listened to every voice up there. Not one of them was the right one. How about you? Did you see Henderson?
Yeah, that is, I didn't see him, but I found out about him.
What do you mean, found out about him?
Well, when I got there, Earl, there were a lot of people outside the house, and the police were there.
Police? What happened?
Henderson was murdered.
It was midnight when the phone rang in the home of Earl Breton, a private detective. A man named Henderson was calling. Henderson, a crooked politician who insisted he was in danger of being killed, and that he had to see Breton immediately. Earl agreed to meet him in his office, but when he and his partner, the professor, arrived a few minutes later, they were faced with a peculiar situation. The lights in the office wouldn't work, and before they could investigate, a voice challenged them from the darkness. Their unknown visitor fired at them, purposely missing, in order to warn them that he meant business. The sound of the gun attracted the attention of the night watchman. He came to investigate and was killed by the intruder, who disappeared, leaving Earl with the old man's body and a clue, the key to room 517 at the Hotel Markham. They rang the police alarm, and Earl sent the professor to intercept Henderson, to break the appointment they had with him. Then he went to the hotel, to room 517, where he expected to find the killer. He interrupted a card game, but Sparrow, the gangster who was registered in 517, invited Earl to sit in, much to the displeasure of his partner, Joe Murray. Breton accepted, promising to return soon. He went down to the street where the professor was waiting. The professor had news for him. Henderson had been murdered.
How did you find out he was murdered, Professor?
I overheard two policemen talking to one another.
Did the cops know you were there?
Oh, no. We wouldn't want them to know we was interested, would we?
Good for you, Professor.
But now that I think of it, Earl, shouldn't we tell the police what we know?
Well, that's a good idea, except that we don't know anything they can't find out for themselves.
But they don't know that Henderson called us to meet him at the office. And then when we got there, we met somebody else. And it was that somebody else who killed the night watchman.
I know there's some connection between those two things, Professor. In fact, if I didn't know Henderson's voice so well...
You'd say that it was the man at the office who imitated it?
Sure, that's an old trick. A man disguises his voice to sound like... Hey, just a minute, Professor. Why couldn't it be...
You mean you actually think that the man we met in the office was the one who called us earlier, and he imitated Henderson's voice?
No. That'd be too obvious. The killer's much cleverer than that.
But you do think he had something to do with both of the murders?
Certainly. If he didn't, how would he know that we were coming down to the office at midnight? He was expecting us. So he must have been with Henderson at the time Henderson called us.
If you don't mind my saying so, Earl, it doesn't make sense. Why should this man have bothered to come down to our office just to ask us about some murder case that was over and forgotten 5 years ago?
That's just it, Professor. He didn't want that information at all. That was just to throw us off the track. That was why he left the key there when he slugged the old man and disappeared.
You mean he actually wanted us to follow him here to the Hotel Markham?
Don't you see? He was trying to establish the alibi that he was playing cards in this hotel at the time of the murder. And he could force us to testify as police witnesses that we saw him here.
Then why don't we tell that to the police?
Oh, Professor, you're slipping. You know the police don't want ideas. They've got their own. Besides, if we don't know whose voice we heard, what can we tell them?
Well, at least we can tell them that it was somebody who's up in that hotel room now.
Sure. But can we prove it?
I guess not. Well, then what can we do?
We gotta go upstairs and find out who that phony voice belongs to.
But our life can be very short in a place like this. I mean, I'm not thinking about me.
I know, Professor, I know. But I made a promise to that old watchman that I'd find the guy who killed him, and I like to keep a promise.
But we ain't got enough money to play cards with those people.
They don't know that.
Well, I don't think it should take them more than one hand to find out.
All right, then you'll have to stall. Now, one of those guys up there has a phony British voice.
So?
Listen.
Stay where you are, Breton. I told you I can see.
How's that?
If I wasn't looking at you, I'd swear it was the guy in the room.
Good. That's all I wanted to know.
I knew you'd keep your promise to come back, Earl.
Oh, why not? This is my night, Sparrow.
Well, come on, take a chair.
I think I'll let the professor play for me. I do much better when I'm looking over his shoulder.
Suit yourself.
Let's get going. You're holding up the game.
How many chips, Professor?
Well, that's up to Earl.
Chips? Why, what do you say we start off with $10 worth, Professor? I got a hunch.
I guess that's all right.
Wait a minute. Who you kidding, Breton? Since when do you figure you can get in on this game for $10?
That's just a starter, Joe. I always like to play hunches.
But you've got more than that, haven't you, Earl?
You know better than to ask me that, Sparrow.
Yeah? We'll see. Okay, deal 'em out.
Joe, if I didn't know that you just came into this game a little while ago, I'd figure that you were losing plenty.
Why?
You're so touchy.
I open. $5.
Raise your 10.
I'm out.
Well, playing it safe, Professor.
I'd rather not explain my game.
Maybe if Joe played it safer, he wouldn't be so worried all the time.
Oh, Joe. Joe's got lots on his mind.
I don't know, Sparrow. You're Joe's partner. You never seem to worry like he does.
What do you mean, worry? Who says I'm worried? I'm just careful, that's all. I don't trust nobody, see?
Nobody? You mean not even Sparrow, your own partner?
I said nobody.
Oh, Joe thinks maybe I talk too much.
That's right.
I didn't hear you say anything out of place, Sparrow.
He thinks I made a mistake telling you he just came into the game a little while ago.
I told you to shut up, Sparrow.
Oh, come on, Joe. You don't have to be afraid of Earl Breton.
He's a cop, and I told you don't have to know nothing.
He wouldn't repeat anything he heard up here, would you, Earl?
I always play it safe.
I think you're all right, Earl.
Mind if I stand up?
Where you going?
I just want to walk around a little bit, stretch my legs.
Just don't go looking at any hands.
Okay. I'll stand over here by the wall.
You're going to let the professor play by himself?
Sure. Hey, this is a very interesting electric light switch.
You guys don't cut the chatter, I'll blow this game off.
Hey, wait a minute.
Who put those lights out? Put the lights on.
What are you getting so crazy about, Joe? You act as if you just murdered someone.
Put up the lights, I said, quick.
I'm sorry, Joe. That was my mistake. I didn't know the light switched off this way.
Shut up. And you, Sparrow. Who's the idea saying I murdered someone?
What are you talking about, Joe? I didn't say anything.
Don't give me that stuff. I heard you. You can't fool me with that phony voice you put on.
I told you I didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah? Well, I happen to know that nobody else but you talks that way.
Quiet, you dope. Did you know that wasn't my voice?
Sparrow, if you're trying to pull anything...
Okay, Joe. Sparrow's right. Now, don't get sore. It was my fault. I didn't know.
That ain't the point, Breton. I want to know what he's trying to pull. And it ain't none of your business, copper.
I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry. It was my voice you heard, Joe.
What? Are you? All right. What's the game, Breton?
No game, Joe. Just a joke. That's all.
Sure, Joe. Just a joke. Very funny, too. Can't you take a joke, Joe?
Nuts. All right, Breton. You want to stay in this game, get up some real dough, or beat it?
Okay. I'll come clean with you. That's all the dough we got with us right now. If you let me go in the next room and make a call, I'll get some sent up here right away.
Why, sure. You want to use the phone, huh? Yes, it's right in the next room.
Thanks, Sparrow. the desk. Hello. Give me Spring 73100.
Spring 73100?
Right.
Oh, you're kidding. That's police headquarters. Say, have you got any complaints to make?
Hold on there.
Hey, wait a minute. What goes on here?
It's one of your keys.
Oh, hello, Sparrow. I can't say much for your phone service.
No? What's the matter with it?
They wouldn't get a number for me.
I see. Who you're calling is so important.
The police. I guess I can wait.
Well, say, I'm glad you came in here, Breton. I wanted to have a little talk with you. Alone.
You wouldn't use that revolver right here in this room, would you?
Wouldn't I? You know, I can do pretty much as I want to in this hotel. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. But if you killed me now, wouldn't you have to tell Joe why you did it?
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, wouldn't you have to tell him that you were tired of being partners with him and Henderson? That you wanted the whole racket for yourself? So that you killed Henderson, trying to make it look as though Joe did it so he could take the rap?
If you're trying to talk loud so Joe will hear you, I might as well tell you he just left.
Well, at least I found out it was you who slugged the night watchman in my building tonight.
So what?
Just that you killed him, that's all.
You shouldn't have gotten away.
Then you're admitting that you killed Henderson and the watchman.
Only to you, Breton. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to make sure that you'll never be able to tell it to the cops. See?
I don't have to tell them, Sparrow. They know about it already.
Oh, sure. You gave them all this information before you came up here.
No, I didn't tell them. You did.
You know something, Breton? I'm beginning to think you're a little bit nuts.
I suppose you wouldn't believe me if I told you the police are listening to you right now? They heard you admit all this to me?
Oh, now, wait a minute. Don't tell me you hid them in my closet.
No. But they're right outside in that room where we were just playing cards.
You're crazy.
Why don't you take a look?
Because I ain't dumb enough to turn my back on you.
Then that makes it easy for them to come in.
Drop the gun, Sparrow. Give it here.
What? It is the cops. What?
We heard the whole thing outside, Breton. Pretty smart.
But how did you get the cops up here?
I didn't get them, Sparrow. You did.
Cut it out, Breton.
It's true. You know the best way to bring the police is to leave a hotel key next to a dead man, and that's what you did.
Yeah, but you picked it up.
Not me. I just made a mental note of it, that's all.
What puzzles me, Earl, is how you know the police were out here when you made Sparrow talk.
That was easy. When I tried to put through a call before, I heard a voice at the switchboard asking about a key. And I just played a hunch.
Now, I'm glad we got here in time. Come along, Sparrow.
Well, Professor, let's go home.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and look, if our phone rings again tonight, don't answer it.
From shadows and stillness, mystery weaves a spell of strangest fascination, charging the mind with doubts and fears. For mystery is a strange companion, a living memory in the haunting hour.